Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Let me know that you can hear me, please. There's nothing worse than getting quite a ways through and then realizing nobody can hear you. I hope you're all doing fine today. I hope all the mamas had a beautiful day yesterday. Mother's Day weekend. You can hear me. Good, 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 good. Good stuff. Nice to see you all here. So today we are going to have it's just going to be a chat day, an extension of the last live that I had did because I didn't have time to get to the chat. And I like to do this every once in a while to just have a live where it's just about you guys. You guys have the stage and we focus on what you have to say and your thoughts. Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. It is open panel. So if anyone wants to join, you are certainly welcome. You don't have to show your face. It'd be just no different if it was like a call in. I just add you to the stage. You'll be behind what you see there right now, Lilly&Jack Sullivan. And of course, that's who we're talking about today, the case of Lilly&Jack Sullivan, who went missing May 1st, 2025, from Garlock Road, Lansdowne, Nova Scotia, and there is a $150,000 reward. Lily is now 7, Jack is now 5. Ginger, thank you for being here. Ginger, the lovely mod. Share Care, hello, nice to see you. Belinda, nice to see you. Liz, Nova Scotia, hello, thanks for being here. We'll just keep going down. Cindy from Ontario, nice to have you here. Angelina, nice to see you again. Trudels, Acadia girl. Nice to see you all here. Lori, Nova Scotia, thanks for being here. Share, another share. Sesame. And there we go. And then we have some folks in the bushes, and that's all right. Yeah, so anybody want to come on? Let me know. I will put the link in the chat. No, I don't bite. Oh my goodness. No biting here. Yeah. So, what do you lovely folks have to say today? What do you lovely folks? There's been a lot going on the last little while. We've had Mr. Martel coming out and speaking again. Did a surprise pop in. What do the little crowns mean? You know what? I haven't figured that out yet. I believe it has to do with something to do with those jewels. And I believe you're gaining points. And then with those points, you can purchase little jewels and they go in the chat. I think. Not 100% sure. Hey, chat. Glad you're here. Remember to be respectful and have fun. This is the vertical chat. Yes, it is. Oh, you're in the vertical chat. Okay. Belinda's saying, so glad to see you, Ginger's mom. Oh, I always wonder if I'm in the correct chat window. Well, if you're on a cell phone, the verticals, it is the better one, but you don't have to be in the vertical. And the horizontal is more for tablet, laptop. But it is your choice. Please show Novah some love by tapping that like. Thank you, Ginger. Yeah, and Ginger alerted me. Hi, Christine. Thank you for being here. Ginger alerted me of a Dispersing the Fog. If some of you have not heard of that, Adam, who is one of the guest hosts on that show, another Lori. Hi, Lori. Thanks for being here. Yeah, they do YouTube. I think they might do a podcast as well. And he was reading something interesting there. We will take a scoot over there and listen to that. Yeah, it's a bit interesting. I think the RCMP need to cut the crap. Well, and it's funny you say that. Hi, Angus. Thanks for being here. Because exactly what I was just speaking of about dispersing the fog. That's basically what a judge is saying as well. Yeah, I think the RCMP need to cut the crap. They say straight out, no abduction, and say very slim chance in the woods. Why a $150,000 reward if not criminal? How can it not be? I agree with you. 100%. Yes. What does everyone think about Mr. Martell speaking? I think it's manipulation. That's my opinion, just in my opinion. To me, it's like scratching at the surface. Well, scratching at the bottom of the barrel, I guess, to try to manipulate anybody he can around him for support, right down to Brad Wong, who he was attempting to even butter up who was also in the chat there. I watched most of it on Justin's. I tried to watch it on It's a Criming Shame, and it was one of those situations where it was literally making me nauseated. So I had to tap out. And I knew that Justin would have it on his channel. He'd be going over it. So I thought, well, I'm just going to wait for that because I can tolerate it more. It's not as nauseating. So, yeah, so I actually laughed out loud at that. Him even trying to butter up to Brad. I've never ever said anything negative about him. Yeah, really? It's actually sickening. It's very sickening. And it's sickening to listen to someone speaking toward the woman who it's in the documents that he has, there's domestic violence there. It's just something just seems very gross about it, I mean, I'm sure some of you here have been a victim of domestic violence, coercive control, and the thought of that individual who has treated you in that manner to think they have the right to sit there and discuss you. Like, it's very gross. Yeah. Was Mr. Martel on a live last night? I don't know if he was last night. I'm not sure, but I believe it was the night before. It was Saturday. Because it was late at night that I had tuned in because I forgot it was Mother's Day weekend, and my sister and I had planned to take my mother and mother-in-law to it's called Masstown Market for Mother's Day. We try to do that every year, and so it was pretty late when I had tuned into it, and like I said, it was honestly just making me nauseated listening to it. Wow, I missed one day because of Mother's Day, and I guess I missed 9 hours or something. Yeah, 9 hours. 9 hours. Sunny is back on YouTube. I can't keep up with her though. 9 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, it was over 9 hours. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Show integrity and audacity. Hi, thanks for being here. And not audacity. I was going to say, in my head as I read that, and I read it wrong, obviously, I was thinking that doesn't make sense. I like that. Show integrity, not audacity. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Share, yes, on a criming shame with Sunny. Yeah. I mean, head over there if you guys want to listen to it. It's not that stuff I don't usually replay on here. And I know most people have listened to it or are going to. I watched it and was so sad to hear he thinks our CMP have screwed up. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Truth and Beauty. Hi, thanks for being here. I found Novah through Sunny and Charmaine. Oh, nice. Good. Good. I need to catch up on the Mr. Martel interview. Yeah. Well, if you find it nauseating, you can go over to Justin's and catch it there to kind of have that break in between and a little bit of laughter in between the BS and that's how I found Novah too, and she's by far my favorite local to hear from. Well, thank you. Hi, Cool J. He's speaking out to get his message to Malaya. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like, that's pretty obvious, but it's not just to Malaya. It's actually, like I said, even right down to Brad Wong. It's like all these messages he's trying to put out there to, it's manipulation is what it is, right? It's like, he's trying to get that message, whatever messages he can out to Malaya. It's still the coercive control crap. And he's doing exactly what an abuser does with the individual they're abusing, where they flip-flop back and forth, the push-pull, because he's going from one way of, I don't think Malaya had anything to do with it, and then in the next breath, he's pulling the other way, right? Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing of how he would treat his victim, or how any abuser treats their victim. He's doing the same thing, indirectly, right? And then he's also, like I said, right down to Brad Wong, right? And then his family members, his uncles, and buttering them up. Like, it's like, when it's all, when the ship is sinking, you're grabbing at anything and grasping at anything to try to survive. And that's what I feel I'm looking at, right? Like, so, more coercive control towards Malaya to sway her in a certain way, to shut her down for certain reasons, sucking up to anyone around him, you know. Yes, so manipulative, so manipulative, so manipulative. Yeah. Hi, Artie Man. Thanks for being here. Yes, I love Justin. Yeah. I Googled major crimes in Pictou County, stated that in 2025, they had a fleet of 5 drones, added a few more in 2026. Speaking of drones, that's probably about 40 to 50 drones right there. They're all parked in the Lorda Park. That's the only spot they could find enough room. Yeah. 40 to 50 drones right there. Breaking news. Daniel has located the drones. Yeah. Yes. I highly doubt there's 40 to 50 drones up there flying around. They'd probably start to collide with each other. It feels icky listening to him. Super Chris Watts vibes. Yeah, well, I agree. It feels really icky. Like even earlier, when I came downstairs, when I first came downstairs, I had Ninchi on and she was playing a clip of him. My husband was out in the dining room and he goes, "Oh my God, I can't stand listening to him. I can't stand his voice." It was triggering him. Yeah, I have and got out. Exactly. Yeah. So then imagine that individual sitting there rambling on about you. God. And to like, to me, it just feels like there's something so wrong about asking the individual who is accused of domestic violence and there's coercive control going on, questions about their victim. Like, it just gives me such an icky feeling. You can see how manipulative and easily triggered he gets. Yes. Yeah, there was a couple of times and I'm sure there was more, but in what I had seen, because I didn't see the whole thing, but where he was getting triggered, one in particular about tint. Yeah. That was triggering him. Hi, JJ. Thanks for being here. He didn't change Sonny's mind, no? I don't know. Saturday into Sunday, 8 hours straight. Yeah, wow, eh? Yeah. Oh, was he talking again last night? Where was that at now? That he was talking last night. It took me 2 days to analyze that live. I could only take it in small amounts. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Small amounts. Yeah, and you don't want to end up brainwashed by the end of it. Right? You don't want to end up brainwashed by the end of it. My gosh. Yeah. Oh, I need something to set my laptop on so it doesn't heat up. Maybe if I just make a concave thing here in the pillow. Downstairs again on the couch. There, that might work. Yeah. I watched 4 hours of the 9. Brutal. Yeah. And I mean, what I did here is just the same. It's just the same, blah, 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 blah. Not much about Lily and Jack at all. Not much about trying to figure out what actually happened to them or any concern about what actually happened to them. Just a lot of defending himself, and in between that, to doing what he could to do indirectly coercive control towards Malaya, which is very evident in my opinion. That's why I didn't hear it. I was at the Jays game. Oh, good for you. Yeah. That's probably a better thing to take in. Better thing to take in for sure. I wish Justin could interview him. DM would hang up crying, in my opinion. Justin doesn't put up lies. Yes, and I agree. It's having a low tolerance for BS, and I'm the same way. I can't stand it. As soon as I know somebody is just a BSer, being manipulative, I'm done, because I've already dealt with that in my life, and I've learned that it's just a waste of your good time and energy, your vibes, everything, because you're never going to have the result that you should have with someone like that. You're never going to have truth. There's always a little bit of truth in there, for sure. There's always a little bit of truth. But it's just a waste of time. And in my opinion, I have learned that's what he and his mom are both like, because his mom as well states things. I mean, when you say you didn't see a bruise on the kids, and you can clearly see Jack with a black eye, and she's saying she was in and out of the house every day and saw the kids, numerous times throughout the day because she's in and out of the house. Well, then you did see the bruise on him. So that to me, I'm done with, right? And I can't let it go. And Justin would be the same way for sure, I think. Now, someone like Sunny and Charmaine, they're able to allow people like that to talk, right? Which isn't a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, to allow the person to talk. Yeah, because we're not going to get the picture of that person if you don't allow them to talk. But I couldn't do it, I can tell you that. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Novah. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you. I don't think he was in a live last night. Oh, okay. I thought someone was saying that he did another 3.5 hours last night. I've only been able to watch about half of the long one because I keep falling asleep. Yes, that happens to me a lot with long lives. I used to take Sunny's lives and do like a part 1, part 2 type thing. So I would watch some the night before and then some the next day, especially with the long ones. The gentleman, hi Julia, the gentleman author has focused his research on RCMP mishaps in the past. I hope he's wrong in this case. You're talking about dispersing the fog. Well, Paul, who's also on that, he he does a lot of research in regards to RCMP, and he's written books and whatnot. The judge, I'm not sure what all he has done research-wise with RCMP. It was Adam who was reading the article from LexisNexis, and that's where the article was with the judge discussing it. We'll go over and listen to it. And I actually tried to get that article myself, and I thought we'd go over it here. However, they make it very difficult to get into LexisNexis. And so I couldn't get the full article, but we can take a look at who the judge is. In my opinion, this Daniel doing damage control. Yep. Now that M has had her public appearance. Yeah, I mean, when he came on Charmaine's, he said it was because it was the 1 year. Okay, so that you did that. Now, why are you still coming out? And there's so much more that's wrong with that, but I can't even get into it because we just can't. But yeah. I can't listen to him either. Too gross. Yeah, just it's tough. It's tough. I find him and Janie both very triggering. And see, now when he's on Sunny, she just has to let him talk, right? But when Justin does the recap or the replay of it, it's different because he can pause it and kind of throw a joke in here and there. And, yeah. Just cleaning, etc., but listening. Yeah. And by the way, guys, that's not really 40 to 50 drones parked in the Lorda Park. That's a joke. just want to make sure I say that so that doesn't end up being put out there as truth. Truth and facts and truth. I think it's a PR move, damage control, yes. But I bet his poor legal aid lawyer is Yes, I was thinking, does he even have a lawyer anymore? What is going on here? But I was in court the other day, and yes, of course, his lawyer was there. But, well, he was on the screen. But, yeah, I bet he is losing his mind. Oh, asking why the heck are they stuck with this client? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've had some clients like this before, but in some aspects, Daniel takes the cake, honestly, in my opinion. Like wowzers. The gaslighting was triggering, yes, and so obvious, I know. So obvious how he treats women. I know. It's so obvious. And that's what I said. Like, it's so obvious what was going on there in the sense of towards Malaya. I mean, that was pretty obvious what's going on there, right? But we do know, and you know, because it is in the documents about the domestic violence and whatnot, and the course of control and all that is very evident. Now, this court case is coming up. We don't know who that is because that's not made public. However, you know, I mean, my thoughts is that he's certainly concerned about any woman that may be asked to testify against him in support of the unknown victim or anything, right? So he's definitely throwing the hints out there, you know, of, you know, don't you dare, right? But that's pretty obvious. But outside of that, like I said, he's also buttering up to others. Like the Brad was the funniest. Like I lost it laughing. I was like, oh my God, that is hilarious. That is funny. He's even trying to he's buttering up to anybody he can butter up to, like I said, it's like a ship going down and you're just grasping at everything because once that ship goes down, it's over. If I was them, I would sue him for putting out medical information. Yeah, and she can too, because there are laws. We discussed them here before already on this case. Nobody should be putting out other people's personal medical information, and the courts are very sensitive to, in particular, certain areas of that law. Yeah. Novah, I agree. Wow, I kept getting so angry. Sunny is patient. Yeah. There was a couple of parts though. I was thinking, I don't know how she's not busting a gut, because with the drones, I was like, because when I watched that, that's another part with as soon as he said 40 to 50, I just lost it. I lost it laughing. And I'm like, how is Sunny keeping a straight face? I'd have to take myself off screen at that point while he's still talking about, because he goes on and on. He loves to talk about those drones and how they're protecting him and blah, 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 blah. I'd have to take myself on screen and mute while I had a good laugh and then come back. Daniel said in the beginning he would bring Meadow to visit Malay in jail. 100%. I was there when he said that. Yes, he certainly did. That was the same time as when he had stated that his shirts were missing. Hello, Novah in chat. Justice for Jack and Lily, always. So I took some notes here too, about this. I think the more you let people, the more talk, the more they leak. 100%. 100%. Yeah. And I'm so thankful for the creators that can pick through that, like Justin and Ninchi, who will pick right through that and pull stuff out of it. Because like I said, for me, it's so triggering. I can't do it. It's so triggering. Yeah. Building his defense online chats. Yeah. Novah, is it true that one of the volunteers from the last search spent a long time with him? It's been talked about in other YouTube channels. I did hear that was so. Yeah, and I was told immediately about it. That there was someone who was with him. And it wasn't anyone like myself or Shan. Yeah. And yeah, so my understanding is that it was Christine Inrig. So what that was about, I don't know. I don't know her. I've never met her. Hi, Rena. Thanks for being here. Gypsy. Thanks for being here. Oh my God, come on. I hate when this won't let me move down the comments. So annoying. Okay. Oh, wow. That's my little grandson loves to say that. Sonny did well, though. Well, his time should be limited if he is charged with the SA charges. Do I believe and support him? Hell no. Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah. These are drones watching the Martel truck. Yes. Yes, the 40 to 50 drones. Why would you need 40 drones to surveillance someone? It's not for surveillance. It's for protection, security reasons to protect him. Not that I don't think there are drones around, believe me. The day that we were out, like for the search, I'm pretty sure. Well, I know something went over us. That's a definite. And some of them, like those ones you're looking at on the screen there, when they're up in the sky, they actually look like they're a plane, and they sound like a plane. So that's what went over us. And yeah, so I would say yes, that it was a drone that went above us. But it was one, not 50 of them. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're around, but there's not 40 or 50 of them following Daniel around for protection. You think our CMP has a budget to fly drones over 1407 every night? Well, no. And I mean, this is not the only case that they're covering. There's other cases going on, and there's other people they have to protect. In fact, in all of this case, if there was anybody to be protected at this point, I would say it's Malaya and baby M. You know, if there was any protection needed, that's what I would say. I don't believe. Just 1 second. Sonny sent me a message. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, come on, right? Like, do we think it's Daniel in any of this that needs protection? It's Malaya and baby M that RCMP wanted to get off that property for protection. And that was immediately. That was the next day. They were asking her about her safety there. You know, and we've discussed that long ago. That's why it bothers me so much. People say, you know, a mother wouldn't leave a property, blah, 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 blah. There's circumstances. There are circumstances where you are in a case that is obviously not two missing children who wandered off. It's not safe. It's not safe. The RCMP, no, there's something more going on here. And the next two victims, possibly of what took place here, could be this mother and this baby, and we need to get them out of here for their safety. Yeah. And I mean, that seemed to be like the work of the RCMP, her mom, and other family members on that property to get them out of there. Justin and Daphne are a blast. Yes, they are 100%. Yes, the person rhymes with pristine. I think I already said the name. I don't care. I'm going to say what I was told. So we'll say allegedly. The person's name rhymes with pristine and is somehow close with D and also M's crew now. How is this possible? Are we all being played for fools, thinking they aren't working together? Speculation. That's funny. Well, I wouldn't say she's close to M's crew. I'll just say that. People are cordial because, sometimes people just have to be cordial, and stay focused on what the goal is, and that's Lily and Jack and getting answers. Some are for his protection, guys. Oh yeah, we just went over that. I'm a little behind, I guess. I bet. Hi, Roseanne. Thanks for being here. I better keep going. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Novah, so much for, and I think I know what you're saying. And you're welcome. And thank you for being here. And that obviously means that you have Lily and Jack on your mind as well. I too found our beautiful Novah through Sunny and Shar. Aw, well, that's nice. Hi there. Haven't followed in quite some time. Nice to see everyone. I hope I get caught up. Yeah, there's a little bit to get caught up on. There was another search, the vigil, Daniel Martel's court date, which was May 4th. Not a whole heck of a lot come of that. And he's been making appearances on channels Shar and Sunny. So there's a little bit there. He did 4 or 5 hours the weekend before with Charmaine also. Yes, he did. Was it 4 or 5 hours? Wow. Welcome to the vertical chat. He is bored. Yeah. Oh, he's being manipulative is what he's doing. I watched 6.5 hours between the nausea. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one and I'm not joking. I truly got nauseated. The same thing had happened when I was listening to Janie one time. And I had to stop. Like, that is a literal visceral effect. It's awful. And I mean, plus the fact it's about Lily and Jack, and you have that on your mind as you're listening to them, and it literally makes you ill. I watched 6.5 hours between the nausea and the anger. Thank God I fell asleep. Yeah. Coercive control by proxy. Exactly. Yeah. I think if anyone will find anything, it will be Tint. You go, Tint. He's pretty crafty. I'll give him that. He is a crafty one. I feel like he was trying out his coercive control on Charmaine and Sunny. Worked better on Char. Still love her. Yeah. Yeah, and that's possible. Sunny is a very smart lady. He knows he can't pull the wool over her eyes. Yeah, well, she's going to listen and let him talk, but I highly doubt he's convincing her of anything. Daniel made me do more research on the dark triad, dark empath personality. So many red flags in that discussion. Oh, I know, eh? Yeah, like I said, I can listen to with the breakup of it with Justin. But I hope he does the whole thing. I think he did 5 hours of it last night. And my thought, everything Justin says, it's like he's taking the words right out of my mouth. Like, I'm sitting here going, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as I say it, or if my husband's not here and I think it, then Justin says it too. And I'm like, okay, like, I always know I'm on the right path because I listen to Justin and he's saying the exact same thing that I'm saying or thinking. And I always found, I was kind of along the same path there as Justin anyways in her thoughts. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for being here. Don't worry about being late. We're all just chit-chatting. Vanessa, hi. Hi, all. We'll catch up later. Still working. No issues. I'm late. Apologies. You guys don't have to apologize for being late. Show integrity. Share can smell a rat. Don't kid yourself. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Hi, Joyous. Sorry I'm late, but we'll go back and watch the beginning after this. No worries. No worries. Old Garden Gal. I know I listen to him and he makes me sick. His voice. Yeah. Yeah. He did the 1 year mark live and then he came back. Exactly. And that's what I said. The reason why he said he came was for the 1 year mark. Honestly, there would be no reason why his mother couldn't have shown up at the vigil. And if he had something to say, she certainly could have said it on his part when she went up to say something about Lily and Jack. But anyways, that's my thought. If my child was ever missing or grandson, whatever, something happened, I would not be on social media. I have to be honest. Not in that way. Not in that way. I would be in the way of trying to just constantly putting information out. Like, okay, the billboards, the pictures or whatever. And I mean, that would be when I got to a point where I was able to do that, because everybody's different in how they process all that at first. He did the 1 year mark live, and then he came back the next year, and then came back the next week for the longest interview in history. Yeah. Yeah. No, I would not be out on social media like that. I honestly wouldn't be. I'd be using social media to my benefit in the way that I felt necessary. Daniel Martel makes me swear. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I actually heard my husband say the F word earlier when I had Ninchi on. You have a good day too, Joyous. Was Sue here? Did I miss Sue? Hi, Sue. Sorry if I missed you. If I missed anybody, I apologize because I'm having I'm having trouble scrolling down with my mouse, and then it'll jump, and so I might have missed some people. And I apologize if I did. Yes, ma'am. Oops. His legal aid lawyer should lose his mind, seen as everything he can talk about isn't related to his charges. Yeah. His legal aid lawyer should lose his mind, seen as everything he can talk about isn't related to his charges. Yeah, well, he shouldn't be talking about see, he's being very sneaky, and it's really hard. It's so hard to explain the extent of his sneakiness and manipulativeness right now. It's really difficult. And he knows that. Like, he is such a sneaky MFer. Really. Because he damn well knows what he's doing. And nobody can really discuss about exactly how sneaky and crafty he's being. Oh, he's... Ugh. Masstown is an awesome market. I'm behind. Oh my God, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I bought a few things there the other day. I could buy one of everything in that place. I'm telling you, there's not much that I look at and I don't want to purchase. The clothes are so beautiful, but they're so expensive. I do believe he is manipulating Malaya. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's coercive. He's being coercive. It's coercive control by proxy, just exactly as Ginger said. But honestly, she should not listen to anything he is on. I don't think she listens to any of that. I did ask someone who is close to her. I said, I hope she doesn't watch any of this. And they said she does not watch anything. I think she went into Shan's chat a couple of times to say thank you to everyone, like to this for searching and all that. But that's it. Like she doesn't entertain this like Daniel does. Definitely. Belinda, I know she can. His BS didn't work on Sunny at all. No, but I felt Char softened a bit. She might have given that vibe on purpose to make him feel good. I agree. She is very smart. Yes. Yeah. I wonder if MBM is still saying she heard the kids that morning. I don't think that has changed. I don't know. I've never heard that has changed. Yeah. In my opinion, Daniel proved he abused M financially. Yes, I was going to bring that up, Ginger. Yes. And I read about that as well, a different article than you had sent me. But yes. But it's interesting what you sent is actually from CRA saying that. How interesting, the Canada Revenue Agency. So in my opinion, Daniel proved he abused M financially by not filing his taxes for 2 years. Now, if people do not know, that is actually also considered financial, a part of the financial abuse and control of an abuser. Okay, that is a fact. But what Ginger and I are both saying, because I agree, and I've read up on this before as well, I actually went through that in my first marriage. And like major financial abuse and control, with like financial control and part of the control. But and that is actually why it did take me so long to get out of that relationship, because that was the thing that it worked until it didn't. But that is part of what can take place. And it certainly sounds like in this situation it has. And one of the things that they'll use to do that is the not filing the income tax, and then you don't get your benefits, and is messing up things with the whole income tax and child tax credit. Yeah. And I mean, he also would have been doing something that would have affected his first spouse as well. Yeah. And my ex-spouse also tried that one, trying to claim the kids when the kids were, I had, what do they call that? I can't remember what it's called, but, I mean, and it's written right down. They were with me all the time and would go to see him on weekends when he wanted to see them. He does not seem to have goods on MBM though. No, and I just like he is so delusional in his thinking It's so bad. When someone is so, their thinking is so, like, how do I put that? When someone is so sure of what they're thinking because it's just born and inbred and bred in them, that they have no idea how wrong it is. So him saying Malaya won't speak because she knows, what I can use as ammo towards her. I'm paraphrasing, but you guys know what I'm getting at. I mean, come on. Like, holy, like the words of an abuser there, right out of his mouth, and he doesn't see that. He doesn't get that. And Daniel, and I said this very, very, very early on. I think it was like it was within the first month, because I paid such close attention to him and every word that came out of his mouth. He is a regurgitator. So whatever he hears someone else say, and then he knows that's what's going to sound normal to someone else, then he takes it and he uses it and he regurgitates it. That's Daniel. I heard that too came all the way from Ontario. Oh, yeah. Oops, I did not finish what I was saying. So if she does not listen, he can't reach her. Exactly. Then he can't manipulate her. Exactly. But he's so narcissistic. He thinks everyone's like him, right? And that she's going to be listening to every word that he says. Well, and I just love how he says, the day I gave her the mail, the day I walked over and gave her the mail. No, you didn't. You come up behind her while she was at the trunk of her car, surprised her without her knowing you were there, and threw whatever it was you had in your hand in the back of the trunk of the car. Creep. He always tries to make something sound so good, eh? Yeah. I just want to look at my notes here. There was a few things that I wrote down. The phone. I'm just going to throw these thoughts out here. The phone, that number that was put into the phone but wasn't dialed out. Two thoughts. Children are like sponges. My grandson is 2 right now, and just from watching what I do on my phone, he knows what buttons to hit to get what he wants to see. Not that I let him play with the phone, but that's just how smart they are. So just in watching me, if he's sitting beside me and I'm doing something on my phone, he now knows that, oh, that button means this. So Lily, at 6 years old, I'm sure by that time, she knew what Malaya would do, because, see, Malaya would have them on the phone all the time doing the FaceTime or talking to Cindy. So they would have been watching that over and over and over. I'm wondering where Lily was popping in and out of the room. Is it possible that she hit that number on the phone while the phone was sitting there on the bedside to call Cindy or FaceTime or whatever it was? I think it was a call. And it didn't go through because the one thing she wouldn't have understood is that you had to be by the window in the kitchen or the bedroom to make that call. Or when did Daniel smash Malaya's phone? Because I would think when your phone's being smashed, that could also happen, that a number could, not exactly go through as a call, but could come up as an almost placed call. Anyways, just a couple of thoughts. I was just thinking about the phone. The maps. It was. I know some people were asking about that. If you can see over on the right-hand side there, it is 3:11. It states when they arrived home. Yeah. The whole trip. Yeah, 3:11 it says. Arrived at 3:11. Yeah, so that is when they arrived home, was 3:11. I know there was a mistake there, I think, on Sunny's. Sunny thought it was 3:40 or something like that. The other. Well, we'll leave it at that now. I'll go back and see what you guys are saying. Oh, Tint's in here. Hi, Tint. Well, I'm glad I came down some. And Shan. Oh my God, Emo's returning. It was Daniel, so I've heard trying to call his mom. She had another phone that wasn't smashed. He was trying to call his mom or trying to call her mom. It was Daniel, so I've heard trying to call his mom. Oh, and he accidentally, because it probably said mom on the phone. Got it. Did you want to come on, Shan, with me? It's open panel today. Hi, Tent. Thanks for being here. Yeah, it's open panel. Anybody is welcome to come on. Bonnie Garrett, hi. Sunny did a 9-hour chat with Daniel that I think the longest live yet, probably, I would say. Christina, hi. Anybody I missed? Tash, hi. I still think he took phone thing happened at 4 a.m. Okay. You're dyeing your hair again. Give me 40 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure we'll still be here in 40 minutes. You don't have to show your face. It's not going to be, your face isn't going to be seen anyways because I'm putting these pictures up right across the screen. Okay, so it was him trying to use the phone. I thought of that as well. But then I thought, geez, we don't want to blame everything on him. No, I'm joking. I doubted it was her, but and so now Daniel is saying that he was the one who had Meadow in the bed. It was him, and he always did that in his days off. So now we're to believe that it was him who had the baby in the bed. Janie called Ron for backup. That's run through my mind as well. If there's if there's a scenario of something bad that may have taken place in that sense. Just the facts, ma'am. Hi, thanks for being here. Yeah. So again, anyone who wants to come up, you're certainly welcome to come up. It's just like a call-in. Nobody will see your face. I'll just put the link in the chat and you can click on it. you'll be behind the screen here, and it'll just be like you're talking on the phone, just like a call-in. And you're certainly welcome to. But he told DT the baby was asleep on, thank you. You just finished what I was going to say. He told DT the baby was asleep on M's arm, and MBM was asleep all that morning. Exactly. I mean, in my opinion, Daniel was never sleeping because, you know, this is what he did. He's changing his story again. So, it was always that he stated that the baby was sleeping on Malaya's arm. When he was asked the question, do you think Malaya could have gotten up out of the bed without you noticing? Well, she had the baby and the baby was sleeping on her arm. And this is what Daniel stated. I'm quoting him. So it's very unlikely she could have gotten up without waking the baby up. That was his answer, right? Now, all of a sudden, it's him with the baby in the bed. And Malaya's just, apparently no good for anybody. He's taking care of the baby. Lily and Jack are just up wandering around. He has no idea that they're not going to go to school. I'll just read my notes here. Didn't Daniel say Malaya had the baby sleeping on her arm that morning, and he doubted she could get out of the bed without waking him? Is he now alluding that he was lying with the baby in that morning, and Malaya's sleeping there beside him, doing nothing, just dead to the world, no good to nobody? Goodness, did he check? Did he check her? Did he shake her? Did he check her pulse? I mean, what's going on there? Like, wow. Did he ask her, are you okay today? Do you need help getting the kids off to school? You seem off your game today. Because apparently, according to him, he had no idea the kids were not attending school that day. No matter how Daniel tells the story, it never makes any sense logically. Usually when this happens, it's because what's being stated is simply not accurate. It's not true. And that was in my notes that I had taken. And I heard a lot of manipulation as usual. He even attempted to manipulate Brad, like I said, who was in the chat. I laughed so hard at it, saying he never stated anything negative about Brad. Yeah, right. Get a grip. He was asked if he knew somebody named Brandon. Now, I believe Sunny received a text from somebody who asked her to ask him that. I could be wrong. Brandon somebody. And when he was asked that was the quietest he was during that whole part of the interview that I had seen. Because he was blah, 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 blah. He actually was speechless for a bit after that was asked. So I wonder who that is. I'm curious. Who is that person? Why did that make him slightly speechless? Well, speechless, really. Yeah. Okay, what am I missing here? Back to the chat. And he was by no means sleeping soundly. He wasn't sleeping at all. You don't know all that stuff going on that he knew. And you're sleeping. That's ridiculous. If you're sleeping, you're sleeping. You don't know, who can be sleeping and say, oh, yeah, I saw this, I saw that, the baby was here, that this was happening, she said that, Jack was doing that. No, you don't not aware of all those things taking place if you're sleeping. And that's in my opinion, and obviously common sense. Well, truth never changes. Exactly. And if you just keep changing a story and thinking that that's going to sound more truthful, okay, well, no, I guess not. Well, this will sound more truthful. No, I guess not. Well, this will, because you're actually not telling what's truthful. Just constantly slinging BS. I'd love to come up on the panel, but my daughter is too loud. Maybe a nighttime when she's asleep. We don't care if your daughter's loud, and you usually can't hear it, but it's up to you. I'll leave it up to you, but we don't care. My grandson was talking in the background the other day, and I like all that natural stuff going on. It's just us living our lives and chatting with each other. Tint, great work. Tint, has the RCMP ever interviewed you? If you don't mind me asking, of course. Now, Tint, if you want to come up and we can go through some of these questions for you and you can answer them on the live, would you like to do that? Let me know. I'll put the link in the chat right now for you. And you can come up and you can answer those questions. We'll do that on the live right now, instead of trying to answer them in the chat. And anybody else that would like to come on, you're certainly welcome. Oh, Tint. Come on, Tint. The only thing that keeps getting clearer is that he's avoiding Thursday night at all costs. Yes. M only alibis him between 6 and 8 a.m. There's a lot of missed hours between sundown and sunup. Yes. Yep, there sure is, isn't there? Except that we know there's two witnesses saying they heard that vehicle. Thank you, Angela. Not yet. Our CMP never talked to me. Wow. Hi, Paris. Hi, everyone. Late slip for me. That's all right. Great to hear your beautiful voice this morning, Novah. Well, thank you. There's another question for Tint. Come on up, Tint. Come. Maybe he's gone. Perhaps he's gone. Oh, okay, Carrie, sorry. I would love to, Novah. You are one of the best ones out there. Oh, well, thank you. Well, you go ahead and click that link there. Well, while we're waiting, so the other day, we want Tint. Right now, I can't. Sorry, I'm driving. Have an appointment in Dalhousie, New Brunswick. Oh, okay. You're still here in the Maritimes. Awesome. All right. Well, that's fine. We know we'll see you around again. You'll be around again. We know that. And thanks for being here. So when I was showing the pictures the other day, there were we're going to go back through these because we'll just focus on these 4 instead of them all being mixed in with something else at the time. It's hard. You end up losing the train of thought of the point you're trying to get across. So this is when our lovely First Nations folks approached Mr. Geddes, and I captured 3 pictures, and then Lori had captured the last one of after this took place, and then she went over to the RCMP. And by the way, he is continuing to say that the kids are on a reservation. Now they're on a reservation in Boston, apparently. He's nervous here. Like, it's funny how somebody can go around and say the things that they say, and which is all false narrative BS. For what reason? I mean, we can't really get into that just yet, but that'll all come to the surface. But he's pretty nervous there. You can certainly tell. And this is after that. Then this is the picture I missed the other day. She then went over to the RCMP officer to have a discussion with him about Darren Geddes. Yeah. And the fact of him saying the children are on the reserve. Which is just ridiculous. Did everybody see what he had on Facebook? Because I can bring that up and we can go over it. Tint, come on live and clear the car chase. Oh, I think the car chase has been cleared. There was no car chase. It happened to be him that drove by and they wanted to talk to him. So I would say flagged him down is probably a better term. They were all in the same area. Other creators say they tried to run you up. Well, people take things and how would anybody know that, right? How would anybody know that? They would have to be there to know that. Who's going to run somebody off the road? Really? Hi, Shan.
Hi.
So, and speaking of that, just before we go into anything else here, I want to bring something up. Because I hear people now starting to talk about this, because Anita, who is absolutely 100% not reliable or believable, I wouldn't believe. Once somebody is deemed to not be believable or I shouldn't say reliable, but believable, that's it. You can, and especially in circumstances of 2 missing children, you can't listen to anything they're saying. But apparently she's putting something out there about child tax credit. And I heard Sunny mention it, but, I don't think this should be the next thing turned into a big deal. It's not something to grab on to and have it twist and turned in every which way, because it is not unreasonable to think that after 2 children go missing and presumed to be deceased according to RCMP, that you then would have to make contact with CRA regarding the child tax benefit. So here, as we can see what this states, starting in 2025, Canada Child Benefit, CCB, payments are extended for 6 months following the death of a child. Now, in this case, it's really tricky because although RCMP say the children are most likely deceased, and I said this before, like this is tough because these are 2 children who are missing. And how would this work? Can anybody know? I mean, and I'm being a bit facetious, but you know what I'm saying? Come
Another
on.
thing to consider would be that she left the property and wasn't returning, so they were no longer common law spouse. And as soon as that happens, you are to notify
You
the
have to report
CRA.
it. You
Yeah.
have to report anything. Well, I should say notify is a better word. Like you said, any of those changes, right? That's a pretty
Yes.
easy one. That's a pretty
Yeah.
easy, straightforward one. I'm not, living on that property anymore because we still have Meadow too, right? Or, geez, sorry, Bayham to consider. But the other one, there's probably going to be a lot of communication that's involved in that one. It's not going to be easy peasy, a one-time phone call. First of all, to even have to make that phone call, like, wow. I mean, any parent. These are things that happen with parents of missing children behind the scenes that we can't even imagine that
Yes.
parents would have to do that I never thought of this. I didn't think of this until I heard Sunny say, I don't listen to Anita, so I don't know what the hell she was saying. But I heard Sunny say something about it. And then it hit me that, oh my God, like these are things that a parent would have to do. Like how devastating.
And Cindy would have been right on the ball with that as well, and likely
her,
would have given her
absolutely.
advice on what she needed to do to keep herself separate from Daniel and to avoid mail going there, because as you can see what happened the last time there was mail that went to the address. What happened? It's
Well,
just
I
another
just talked
form.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
of him being able to creep on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says here that this has to be done within the first month, by a
Yes.
month. So previously payments stopped the month after the death. And again, this is an even trickier one here. I can imagine there'd be more of a conversation than, man. Child disability benefits also continue. Okay, so key details on CCB after a child's death. Extension period. Payments and related child disability benefits continue for 6 months after the child's passing, effective June. Okay, action required. You must notify Canada Revenue Agency of the date of death. And again, like this is a tricky one, Shan, because they're presumed to be deceased. But now, how does the government see this? Because that's a whole different ballgame, how the government, usually by the end of the month.
Well, there's
And
also
this was
other.
3 weeks later. This was
Yeah.
3 weeks later that she was apparently, whatever the story is. So, what is the issue here? Except that what a horrific thing for parents to have to go through that we can't even imagine.
Well, I think it's, in my opinion, it's a case of no matter what she does, she's going to be criticized.
She's going to be
So,
criticized.
yeah. And the less that Daniel can use against her, the better. And he will, and as he admitted, will use any and everything against her that he can to weaponize the
Oh, he said
custody
it.
case. Yeah, his words, not mine.
Yeah. And I mean, I had just talked about that and how disturbing it is that to him that was so natural to roll off his tongue like that's just normal, you
Yeah.
know? Like, oh
And that's why
man.
he is so desperate for
Oh,
her to come on my live, and I won't actually allow it.
no, I know you're not stupid. I laughed when I heard him say that. I'm like, yeah, okay, Shan's gonna get right on that one. Yeah, and that's exactly what he'd want. And
Yeah.
plus, to figure out if he can figure anything out of what's,
Yes.
yeah, like, oh my God, so disgusting. And everybody could see right through what he was doing. It was very obvious.
Oh, he's got a fan
Um,
club. He does have a fan
oh,
club.
I know. Well, they all do.
Yeah.
Geez, that Wade, whatever his name is, with all those tattoos, and there always ends up being a fan club.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt there'll be people writing to him in prison, in my opinion.
Yeah. Listen, I got to pee. Do you mind maybe grabbing a question there? Anything you.
Let me go. I can't see the chat, but if you put it on to the screen, I can.
Okay, so what do you know about this one? Well, actually, we'll, we'll save this one till I come back because I want to know if you know anything about that
I
um
do know about a bit about that.
because he got a little bit speechless when I think somebody sent Sunny a text when she asked him that, because her phone went ding and she looked at something on the phone, and then she asked him this question, and he actually got silent when she
I
asked
know.
him. And I was like,
I got sent a lot of
oh,
timestamps by Ginger. She's awesome, and so
I love it.
I didn't have to subject myself to the 8 hours of listening to his going in circles and not actually answering anything.
Yeah, exactly. Circles. Um, I am cutting Sunny off and going, oh, that's my ADHD. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
that's what kept him up till 3:30 in the morning.
okay, so somebody's got a question here about Nita, and it's actually directed to you. So I'll let you answer that while I go pee pee, and then we'll come back to Brandon. Yeah, I can tolerate it watching Justin, because you know what Justin's like.
Yeah.
He breaks it up with his humor, and I know whatever his thoughts are going to be aligned with mine. Uh, I'll
Yes,
be right back.
yeah. Let me just throw my chicken in the oven. All right. I have heard some of what Anita has said on Mike Demands because I have listened to specific timestamps. I will say that a lot of it has been anything I've asked of Cindy and Malaya has been completely debunked. One of the major things was her arrival at the property. So she said she was there on the Sunday after the children disappeared. And in fact, she didn't get there for nearly 3 weeks after the fact. So her whole story about the laundry items being found on the Sunday when Malaya got back, and that's completely inaccurate. She wasn't there. There was no laundry found. And actually, I was given the opportunity to speak to Wade last week, and I had a very good conversation with him about Anita. And I got a lot of history on her family. Um, I don't want to throw her under the bus because it's clear that there are some mental health issues there, but there are many issues with the things that she has said. Almost everything that she has said has been either taken off of previous lives and information given online, and I would say manipulated into her own stories. Um, I mean, you just have to go back to when she said that she had never been to Pictou County. And then the next week she came on and said actually she had been to Pictou County and she had been in Daniel's driveway. Um, so she had repeated over and over again in her conversation, her alleged conversation with Chance Lays, the first one, that she had never even been to Pictou County. And then the following week she came online and said that she had indeed been to Pictou County. So, I mean, it's very difficult to try to pinpoint where she is coming from, because to me, I'm not sure if it's a case of wanting to be relevant in the case for the reward. Um, it is just very deeply disturbing, because when she did first reach out to me, um, it was very different. She was advocating for Malaya, was saying some things about Daniel that I'd already heard before. Um, and then it just snowballed into something completely different. And when I met with her at the Tim Hortons, it was very much like how she is on Mike's channel. I didn't really have the opportunity to rebuke anything or ask proper questions. She was telling me what questions I should ask her. Um, I caught her in some details that were inaccurate. And, when you catch someone in inaccuracies, it's hard to take into consideration everything they've had and anything they've said or done. And it continues to go on. And I do hope that the people behind this type of muddying of the water, such as Anita and Darren, are held accountable at the end of this. Are you back, Nova?
Yeah. There's another question there. Angela has, was Malaya's phone broken on Saturday when she left Garlock, or was that another phone that she or Daniel smashed?
The phone that was broken, that was in question, that had the majority of her pictures on it, was broke um, long before the children went missing, and she did have another phone. But um, that phone had the majority of her pictures of Jack and Lily on it, which is why she handed it over, and it was handed back to her.
Yeah.
And the story behind how the phone was smashed is completely different. The story I heard. In fact, Daniel would come home every day and ask Malaya who she had cheated on him with that day, and repeatedly asking her, even though she didn't have an access to a vehicle, and he would be gone for hours on end with no answer as to where he was and what he was doing.
Yeah. And that's typical of those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I had went through that with my first husband, and I mean, he was my first and only ever partner, and it's like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are you coming up with this crazy shit?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
usually projection, isn't it?
yeah.
Oh, Tash Pond just read my mind. Yeah, projection. So
Yep.
blaming others for what you were doing yourself.
Paris says, "Oh, Shan, bless your heart for doing that. Must have been a long day." Yeah,
It was
and
very
she's talking
long.
about with Anita.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. And I do actually have some sympathy for her, because there's clearly some major untreated issues there. And it's manifesting in this way. And I know this case has a way of affecting people's mental health.
yeah,
And I believe this is another way that is happening, just in a different way. Oh, my
yeah,
washing machine doesn't sound very good. 1 second.
yeah. Uh, well, she's gone. We will break this up with a thank you to Paris for becoming a new member.
Okay, I'm back.
Thank you, Paris. I started some comments here.
Did you want to go back to that Brandon?
Yes, I got that one. That's the next one. Yep. His name is Brandon Hendershot, and I asked Charmaine to ask him. Oh, you asked? Okay, and then Charmaine must have sent it to Sonny. Okay, so what's up with that? Because that left him a little speechless. Was I the only one that noticed that?
He was allegedly someone who lived in the neighborhood who Daniel was familiar with, and who also went back out west shortly after the children disappeared.
Okay.
And not to be confused with the other Brandon, who's the elite searcher and witness.
Yes. Yeah. Not Boudreaux, but what the heck's his? Well, yeah. Lemieux. Yeah. Lily had a black eye on Wednesday, but on Sonny's live, he didn't know if Lily actually had a black eye. Yeah, he changed a lot of things from what I've heard so far. Like I said, I didn't hear the whole thing, but I did hear him say that. Like I said, when it's nothing is the truth, it'll constantly never make any sense what's being said. And Christine says the fact Daniel said those things is gold for Malaya's lawyer. I agree. I agree. There's a few things there that I'm like, yikes. Daniel's phone breaking story didn't make sense, in my opinion. This is Christina. I would have smashed his phone, not mine. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. That he took. I know, right? I know that he went out and smashed his own, she went out and smashed her own phone. Now, come on, right? What else do we have here? I got to try to go back. Daniel, okay. Anita is batshit crazy. I wouldn't disagree with that. It would be very hard for Malay to cheat with JM just next door. Oh my God. Yes. Eyes everywhere out there.
Yeah.
The phone story sure didn't make sense. Daniel's version, no, it's ridiculous.
No, there's
Absolutely
always elements of
ridiculous.
truth in his stories, which is why he's able to convince himself of what he's saying and why he can sound so convincing, I guess.
Yep. Just the facts, ma'am. Thank you for being a member for 4 months. Hi, Valerie. I can't listen to a 9-hour live. Listen to Justin, and I was still falling asleep. So much BS it is. Yeah, just a circle of BS. Christina, what a horrible way to live. I feel bad for Em and the kids. Yeah, I feel bad for the whole situation. And, it obviously led into something very horrific. In my opinion. I have done more search too. Aw, awesome. Kudos to all the searchers, whether you're on your own out there doing that or with an organized group. Belinda believes I hope every single person that has lied will be held accountable eventually. Yes. Didn't he say, and I told her she would regret it when she smashed it? Yes. Yeah, and it's so funny because when he's telling these stories, you can actually tell the part that's BS, for me anyways. Yeah. Angela says he changes his story like he changes underwear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's he changes it almost as often as Darren. I don't know if you saw my live the other night, but I found it just unsettling that you touched on this before about the First Nations ladies that were there, the Mi'kmaq women, and you witnessed my conversation. I wouldn't say
part of it. I was just walking up to see what was going on, and because I that's a big thing with me too, what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it took attention away from the vigil at all.
Oh, not
We
at
were
all.
off, yeah, we were off at the back, away from everyone. And I did take the opportunity to ask him if he still thought the children were on the reserve. And he said he'd never said that. And then he proceeded to say that it was Malaya's family who had taken the children. And then just in the last 48 hours, he was on Canadian Gothic in the chat there saying that the children were taken by traffickers, drug traffickers, um, also by pedophiles, and then was saying that the confidential informants for the RCMP were pedophiles. And then he went on to say that Larry Cameron, who was a world renowned investigator, whom he recently tried to distance himself from, had found proof that the children were actually with First Nations people in Boston. So I'm not sure where he gets his ideas from, but he certainly can't stick to one story.
No. I'm going to share that right now.
And I did feel very um, upset to see him talking to the Mi'kmaqi women because of everything he has said and done, because of his bigoted behavior and his just the things he said. That he openly said it was a First Nations intervention. He said it was Patty. He said it was. He's pointed the finger at everyone other than, well, himself, really. And even then, he said he might have dropped himself in it.
Yeah. Well, you because you know what he was up to when you saw him over there doing that. No, there was nothing that disrupted the service. When I came and I, was talking to a couple of people, I didn't even know what was going on over there. It wasn't like there was yelling or anything that drew attention to it because I didn't even know where you were or anybody, or I was looking for Belinda. And then somebody said to me, oh, she's right over there with Darren, and Shan's over there too. And I said, oh, what's going on over there? And they said, I don't know, but I could hear Darren saying, I didn't say that. That wasn't me. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's over there defending himself against saying this about the First Nations. I kind of put two and two together as to what was going on. But even when I was walking over, I couldn't hear anything. Like nobody was yelling or interrupting anything. It was just a quiet conversation going on, over in the side there. Yeah, so here's the Facebook messages from him. Darren says, I wonder if he was the RCMP confidential informant partners. The way he words stuff, I don't know what the heck he's trying to say half the time. And this Jennifer says, elaborate on why the heck they'd approach children, though. What would this help? Knowing children are naive and easily manipulated. What are RCMP confidential informants wanting of children? For real, though, does that make any sense? And no, it doesn't. And she says, Darren, I creeped your profile. Never answered my question, but I still have the same question, even after all your posts about the RCMP corruption. And Darren says, some RCMP informants are convicted child traffickers. And you ask what they would want with children? Oh, man, I'm telling you. And she says, Darren, grave accusations. My opinion, I'm always on a kid's side. Convince me with proof of such accusations. And really, though, where does he come up with this stuff? Like, you still there?
My daughter's just walked in the door. Give me 5 minutes, will ya?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll just continue reading. And Jennifer says, it's a very serious, grave situation. They are allowing rugs. Oh, sorry, this is Darren saying this. It is a very serious, grave situation. They are allowing rugs to run rampant, only busting the little guys for show and public relations. What does any of this have to do with Lily and Jack? Like, this guy's out of his mind. The rugs are how these PD files and traffickers are creeping into our young people's lives. They get them addicted. When they can't pay, they ex-traffic them, and many law enforcement are inherently corrupt by their own senior management. And all of this has to do with Lily and Jack Howe. And Jennifer states, not sure how to respond other than 90% of the math heads have drank milk. If that's what you consider a gateway rug. Darren says, oh, there are suspects. Thought everyone is pushing the drowning theory. Place boots by dude and awe. Good to see you're an informant. Hope it pays off. No, this is somebody named Stephanie saying this to Darren. Sorry. Good to see you're an informant. Hope it pays off. Your loaded sentences ought to lead somewhere eventually. And he says, Darren says, you're not even on the same case. I don't think she is. And then Darren says to someone named Colleen, well, my theory was backed up by a huge digital, internationally acclaimed investigator named Larry Cameron, which that's nothing but a scam, that whole thing. But go ahead and pretend that he's something there, Darren. Who says the children are in the custody of an indigenous organization in Boston. Oh my God. And this is after the vigil. So I'm not the only one who believes it's likely. How much effort have you put into finding them? Wow. An idiot. Yeah. No, Malaya did not smash her own phone, Belinda. I mean, did he say? Did he say? He did say he doesn't love her in the external world. Oh my goodness. That must have been when he was doing his poetry part of the talking that he does. Shan, if you don't want to answer, please just ignore. But what is your opinion on Christine apparently hanging out with Daniel? We'll stir that one. He got to control his thoughts. Well, he can't. He's too focused on manipulating and yeah. Police want anyone with fact-based information related to Lilly&Jack Sullivan's disappearance to contact the Northeast Nova Scotia RCMP Major Crime Unit at 902-896-5060 or online. Yeah. I was curious which vehicle Daniel took to pick up CL and AR. Yeah. Do we know if they were in the woods all on Saturday? Well, according to him, they were. That's what he states, that they came to help look for them. But yet he also said he didn't really do any searching because he knew they weren't in the woods, remember? That he was just trying to portray that he was searching. I seriously wonder if anyone from RCMP had their eyes on him. I hope they did. I sure hope they did. I kind of think they probably did. To me, it seems pretty quick. They knew something was wrong with that whole situation. If they're trying to ask Malaya about her safety the following day, it seems they fairly quickly knew something wasn't right. There's a question here for you, Shan.
I'm back.
Show integrity, not audacity, is asking you, Shan. If you don't want to answer, please ignore. But what is your opinion on Christine apparently hanging out with Daniel?
That you have to bring me back up.
Whoops.
There we go.
There? Okay.
Yeah, I am
now. Show integrity, not audacity. It says, Shan, if you don't want to answer, please just ignore. But what is your opinion on Christine apparently hanging out with Daniel?
I don't know Christine well enough to really make a proper determination on that. What I can say is that I do believe that she wants to find Jack and Lily. You know, a lot of people have different ways of dealing with information and gathering information in this case. So I feel it would be unfair to criticize her at this point if she's trying to get information from Daniel that may or may not lead to Jack and Lily. You know, we don't know what happened to them. We can suspect and we can have our theories. And which is why I advocate for Malaya, because ultimately she's the mother of the two missing children. And we know that she was a victim of coercive control and likely domestic violence in that home. And I believe that I'm doing the right thing by advocating for her. And until I'm proven otherwise, I'll continue to do that.
I agree, and I feel the same way. And I gave Daniel the same courtesy as well. You know, until I knew different. And that was due to himself, you know? Yeah. Thank you, Little Black Bear, for being a member for 3 months.
Yeah, Daniel doesn't make it easy for to advocate for him. There is a lot of inconsistencies There was a lot of projection, there's a lot of manipulation, and a lot of pointing the fingers in particular in the beginning. He
Yeah.
insinuated Cindy had picked up the children. He insinuated that Malaya knew. There was lots of early conversations, and for anyone who's been following it from the beginning, they will know that. And Darren, as well, advocating for him was not a good, um, wasn't a good choice on Daniel and Janie's part, in my opinion. Um, that is where I lost all belief in what Daniel was saying. So
Exactly.
if you were willing to have, which I asked him specifically, are you willing to allow Darren to speak on your behalf? And he said yes. And so did Janie. Um, you know, and you look at what Darren has said and done, it's very hard to separate that now.
Yep. Yep. Christina says, I wonder what she's curious what vehicle Daniel used to go pick up Chance and is it
Adams.
Adam? Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam. I think it was Malaya's, wasn't it? The
It's from
the
what
one
I
Nissan
understand,
Pathfinder.
yeah, he was using Malaya's vehicle and Malaya's phone um, in the hours up to 36 hours until Malaya left.
Yeah. That much flip flopping sounds like mental illness is involved. I think you're talking about Darren. Well, I wouldn't disagree. There's definitely something wrong with that man. That's 100%. Ginger says, did Darren and Anita climb out from under the same rock? I
Oh,
think
Lord.
so. Yep. Why does Ken hang with Darren? Oh, I don't know.
I have the same question myself.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's you lie with dogs, you get fleas.
Yep.
And like Daniel, if he was going to surround himself with someone like Darren, then he's going to be tarred with the same brush. If Kent is going to associate and have dinners and coffee with Darren, then he's going to be painted with the same brush. And you are who you hang around with. And if
Yep.
you surround yourself with those kinds of people, then it's not hard for people to jump to the conclusion that you are colluding with them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yes, it is true that Kent was tracking MBM. He knew
Oh, you can
one of,
see the questions now. Okay.
yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Kent, Malaya's neighbor, was friends with Kent and was reporting to Kent when she was coming and going.
Yep. Now, whether someone realizes, like sometimes people can get caught up in something, not making any excuses up for anybody, but
Mm-hmm.
and not realize how deep of a hole they're going down until it's pointed out that, do you know that's actually stalking what you're
Mm-hmm.
taking part in here?
Yeah, it's stalking
Um,
by proxy for, yeah.
right. Um, oh, well, why does that do that? It drives me nuts. Um, did you hear? I'm asking you this. That isn't a question in here. I'm going to go down to the bottom now so we can keep up. If anybody has a question that didn't get answered that you really want answered, copy and paste it. Because what I want to do is bring up dispersing the fog. Did you listen to that yet? What he was
I sure
saying there.
did. Yes, I did.
Do
I
you want
was
you okay with me bringing that up, and we'll bring
sure.
that into the conversation? Okay, just give me
Yeah.
1 second here. I just watched it this morning when Ginger sent it, so it shouldn't take me long to bring it up. If there's another question there that you see that you want to talk about while I'm bringing it up, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to have Adam on my channel again soon, just to discuss the case. I think it's always great to have a different point of view. Angelina said there's been a lot of stalking going on in this case, and I know that people have mentioned about the fact that I've been by Daniel's property 11 times, but I just want to make it clear that I've been out searching for Jack and Lily 11
Yeah.
times. So that will involve me going by his property. So the fact that they were last seen at 1407 Gerlach Road means that you're going to search in that vicinity. And where else should I look if not starting at the last point they were seen, which is Lansdowne Station? And in those 11 times, I never saw one of his relatives out searching or offered to assist in any way.
Okay. Did you see Daniel there with all his drones, Shan?
Yeah, I was given some really great information. I think it was Ginger's mom that sent it to me, that there's actually only 6 drones on the Nova Scotia RCMP
Yeah,
drone fleet.
I
So
read that earlier. Someone had put that in the chat. Maybe it was Ginger. I can't remember. But yeah, I read
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I highly doubt that there is 50 drones that were out um, surveilling him. I don't believe for one moment that it's for his protection and security, but
No.
I would say that it's possible that perhaps his eyesight at the time wasn't that great and he could have been seeing multiple lights, but I have no doubt that there are drones that keep an eye on his coming and goings, because if I was an RCMP officer, I would be doing that.
That's right. And like I said, if there was any reason to be doing that for anyone's protection, I think they would be, and I'm not saying that that's actually happening, but I'm saying if it were to happen that many there was numerous drones needed to watch anyone in this case for any kind of protection, I think it would be Malaya and baby M they'd be keeping an
Yes.
eye on for protection, not
Yes.
Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here we go with this. If you guys can't hear this, let me know and I will fix it. I tried to forward just a bit because they're talking about Mother's Day at first, but I'll just let it play, Shannon, unless you say can you stop there? I'll pause, okay?
Yep.
We're pretty much ready to retire if we were actually 60, but no. No, lots of time left as a 60-year-old. It's the new 50. Happy
60,
Mother's Day, Paul.
60's the next 30,
Oh, yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
Law. I enjoyed some lobsters, as did the rest of us. So, good way to celebrate on the East Coast.
As for my mother, it'd be extreme long distance to get a hold of her. She's gone. But little known fact.
Yeah.
My mother used to say of me that I had motherly qualities.
Oh.
I was a good mother.
Well, that's a pretty nice thing to say.
Yeah, she said that. Well, and so I ended up being sort of taking care of my siblings as best.
And there's gender fluidity and multiple genders this day and age, but a person should have some maternal aspects to their personality at least.
Yeah, it's sort of that I've done it all over the years. So I've changed my share of diapers and done all the things I've had to do. And except Sharon says I've never learned how to fold napkins very well. So I'll fold them. Then she'll go, no, that's not right. She's got to do it her own way. So,
jeez. Well, I'm sure there's a right way. So it should be done that way. No,
I try. Lord knows I try, but I admit sometimes I just do it just to taunt her, pull her tail, just see how she'll react.
well, mothers get a relief from that kind of antagonistic behavior on Mother's Day. That's the real benefit of Mother's
Sorry,
Day.
guys, he's going to get into it
So,
here in a
Paul,
minute.
we've got lots to talk about this week and some follow-up from some stories that we were covering last week. This Jack and Lily Sullivan story that still obviously has legs. There's been some little follow-up to the OPP Robert Chikansky report that we discussed with our guests last week. And we have an update on the Spring Hill Institution assault case. So where should we start, Paul? What do you think?
Wherever you want.
Well, let's the Jack and Lily Sullivan story. I was sent this article this week. We were talking about the press conference that Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon did last week, and that generated a lot of reaction, not only to our show but generally. And I wanted to read a little bit about from a column done. Okay, those not in the legal world wouldn't maybe be familiar with LexisNexis, but it's a big legal publisher, publish all the cases. They also have this thing, it's like a magazine, Law 360. Well, there was a column from Norman Douglas, a retired judge this week, and he starts off with, last week, as I write this on May 4th, 2026, I watched part of a press conference that made me want to puke. And it was about Jack and Lily Sullivan, the disappearance. The Nova Scotia RCMP officer in charge of major crime was giving an update on the case of their investigation, which began May 2nd, 2025. Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon, smiling, coyly grinning as he dodged legitimate questions, looked as though he was thoroughly enjoying the limelight. He will soon learn that limelight is a fickle pleasure. It can, at the flick of a switch, turn into indecent exposure. The case has received national and international attention. It is gut-wrenching. All sad eyes are on the RCMP. What is taking so long? What are you doing? Anyway, and he goes on. Basically, his conclusion at the end of it is there should be an independent outside police force brought in to investigate the situation, see what the RCMP have done, and see what's taking place. He said these two children have likely been murdered, and where are the leads? What's the investigation? The two most obvious suspects, the mother and the father and the stepdad, have they been cleared? If not, if so, say so. If not, then what's going on? So that's kind of his take on things.
Oh, it's right. It's an absolutely perplexing case because once again, like in you had these two disappearances of children. One in 2020, Dylan Ehler, 3-year-old in Truro, happened on, what was it, the first week of May 6th or something. And Jack and Lily Sullivan, May 2nd last year. Did they go into the water? Where did they go? But the police response in both cases, one initially Dylan Ehler by the Truro police, the small police force that does the town of Truro, and then the other one just outside of Truro, which was done by the RCMP, and both eventually done by the RCMP. In both cases, there's very little initial response that's by the police that makes you feel warm about policing. It's like they didn't react the way a police force should react in that situation, didn't call in and help early enough, didn't do anything early enough. Or am I wrong on that? I mean,
it's they didn't seem to track, if the children were missing, are they going far enough afield to see, well, who are they connected with? Let's check their phones. Who are they messaging? And, get access to that right away. Are they in touch with anybody? And if so, where? And, the investigation seemed to focus just entirely on the surrounding areas of the home, around the home, and not any other possibilities. And it just seemed like, the potential to break the case early is that seems to be the, how things work. You find out right away, and they seem to make mistakes right away. It's like Portapic in a way, right? That they,
You know what it's like? It's very similar circumstances to the kidnapping and disappearance of Nancy Guthrie in Arizona. The mother of Savannah Guthrie, the NBC talking head. In that case, the local police department tried to handle it all itself without calling in other authorities, the FBI or whatever, to help them. Because they took it upon themselves, they could do it, this sort of lean down policing. And it didn't work. You needed all hands on deck. You needed other eyes on the case. You needed a professional approach to it. None of that happened in Arizona, and none of that happened in Nova Scotia. But we know there are things wrong in Nova Scotia because we've been seeing it vividly for the last 6 years. And yet we have governments who say, oh, we love the RCMP. They do a great job. Nova Scotia massacres, the Dylan Ealer case, Jack and Lilly Sullivan. These are egregious screw-ups, all of them. And nothing is done. Nobody, we're just keep going down the same track like everything is normal.
This Judge Norman Douglas wrote as well. He was back when he was a prosecutor in between 87, 89, actually in 88, he said in Timmins, Ontario. He had gotten a call as prosecutor from a police agency to just authorize the disposal of some evidence, some bicycles that hadn't been claimed, stolen bicycles. But one was a bicycle that was associated with a murder of a 14-year-old girl there. And so he's like, whoa, we're not doing this yet. And assigned a particular Crown prosecutor to the case, checked it out, new police agency in that, go over the evidence again, look at this bicycle, and it turned out to actually be a turning point in the case, and they found the killer in that case. So bringing in an outside agency, it's fresh eyes. They're not, you get, I think, involved in a situation, you can get a bit of a one-track mind on it. And if you bring in somebody that doesn't have that limitation, then, maybe it can open up a new avenue of investigation. So it seems like it's time now to bring in somebody new to investigate the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case.
Well, and what you're seeing in Nova Scotia is, the fallout from persistent under-policing, under-resourcing. It's not the money. There's plenty of money there, but the cops don't show up for work. They're off sick. They're off with a headache. Somebody said boo to them in the night, and they're off on stress leave for 4 years. There's just not enough accountability of policing, and they're not organized in a way that serves the public interest. It's quite clear.
Well, and similarly to the resistance of the RCMP to bring in any outside agencies or talk to any other police forces in the Portapic shootings, that seems to be a little bit of the case here. And you wonder if it's because they know that they screwed something up early on, and now they don't want anyone else to see it. And
exactly, that's exactly what it is, I suspect.
Yeah. So
that's the way they operate. So when the police aren't doing this and cases like this go unsolved, you know who I get bombarded by?
What?
And I've talked about this a bit.
Oh, I've gotten a few messages this week from people too with insight into the case. But is that what you're talking about?
Well, you get all kinds of weird or different theories. You get psychics. You get other people with theories. Like, one of the theories of Jack and Lilly Sullivan case it's been floated for a while, not just lately, but it's come around to me and probably you lately, that Jack and Lilly Sullivan were indigenous, had First Nations status. And the theory is that they were scooped by the local First Nations community because they were living in a desperate situation, similar to Dylan Ealer. who was not First Nations.
Yeah.
And they were scooped to save their lives, and they're now in Boston, in the Boston area, being taken care of by a Native group.
Well,
how do you prove that? Does it exist? But I'm saying this is one thing that's come down the pike this week.
well, that would be fantastic in a way if that was true, but it seems unlikely. There's no real evidence of it. Now, the parts that are true is they were seemingly in desperate circumstances. They're desperate. They're not in great circumstances, living in rural Pictou County in not a great living situation, but that's not terribly unique in Nova Scotia these days, I guess.
A lot of rural communities. I mean, it's it is an issue.
There's parts of that add up a little. Not, there's no evidence of this, Paul, but there's issues with child protection of First Nations children, and a little more historically focused on the children, get the children out of there so that they're not seized by authorities, rather than save them from this kind of circumstance. I don't know. It doesn't quite add up.
Yeah, I know. Well, and then the other thing that as these cases go on, you have, as I said, psychics coming forward. I had someone visit me this week, who's coming to help me and wanted to pick my brain, and it was all about forensic astrology.
Oh.
So that's about it, really. They're just going to talk about psychics for a little bit, but I know my first thoughts when I listened to that was my understanding, and they've said it numerous times. We've read it and they've said it. RCMP is that there are outside sources involved, and not only within Canada, but sourcing outside of Canada as well. That was my first thought. I'll show you guys the judge that they're speaking of, who was in that article. Norman Douglas. That's him there as a judge and an Elvis impersonator. And that's a book that he has written, You Be the Judge. Norman Douglas was born in Hawk Junction, Ontario. He grew up in Sault Ste. Marie. He earned his BA and his LLB degrees from Queen's University. In 1973, immediately after completing the bar admissions, Norm was appointed assistant Crown Attorney back in his hometown of Sault Ste. Marie, and he became the Crown Attorney in 1980. In 1992, he moved to Toronto to take up the position of Senior Counsel and then Director of Criminal Prosecutions for Ontario. And 2 years later, after a 21-year career as a Crown Counsel, he was appointed to Ontario Court of Justice to preside as a criminal court judge of Brampton, Ontario. On his 75th birthday in November 2021, after 27 and a half years on the bench, Norm retired from his position. Rewarding as his time as a Crown Attorney and judge were, the best job he ever had is what he does now, being Grandpa Buck to his 11 grandchildren. And as I said, he has written the book, You Be the Judge. Have you ever wanted to be the judge? Here's your chance. Sit on the dais beside criminal court judge and author Norman Douglas as he wrestles with difficult decisions that he had to make. This book presents 12 homicide cases and another 12 riveting true crime cases where you, the reader, are either the judge or the prosecutor. So I mean, he's definitely established, and he in that it's like a journal, the LexisNexis. Now I wanted to bring up that whole article, but when it gives you a 7-day free trial, but it won't allow you to use. You have to put in an email in. It has to be a paid email like eastlink.com or whatever. Hotmail or Gmail will not work. So it wouldn't allow me to do the 7-day free trial to bring up that article. But he said in that little bit there that Adam wrote or read that this is obviously a homicide case. I think he actually used the M word. But yeah. Shan, are you back?
Hello. Sorry, I'm making grilled cheeses as we speak.
Did you hear what I was saying?
I didn't hear that last comment. What did you say? The last thing?
I was just talking about the judge and how he come right out and said that this is obviously a homicide. I think he actually used the M word.
Yeah.
But I was saying how when I first listened to that, my first thought was, well, I thought RCMP have made it very clear that they are using outside sources. It's not just them only working on this case, that they are using outside sources, and not only here in Canada, but outside of Canada as well. Am I wrong on that?
I'm not sure about outside of Canada, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I know they are using the OPP, and they're using the cyber security unit, and also using the RCMP out of New Brunswick. And I'm very confident that they are likely using, FBI profilers and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah,
And
I thought one article I read, I thought for sure it said, and including outside of Canada. I could be wrong. I'll try to look back. And don't forget the sergeant, who that's very high, the individual who questioned Daniel regarding Thursday night. He is a sergeant, inspector, thank you.
Yeah.
Who is from BC? He's not. Yeah. So again,
one of the highest ranking officers.
Highest ranking officers from BC. So again, that's an outside source.
Yes.
Or CMP, but not local. Yeah. So that was my first thoughts when I read that.
I had mixed feelings about it. Yeah, I really respect Adam and his opinions. And I know Paul, I like a lot of his opinions. He's very insightful. However, he's not very pro RCMP, as we know.
No, for a very long time, he's not. So,
yes. Yeah. So he is biased against the RCMP.
100%.
But what I do agree with, I don't agree with obviously the judge's opinion of Staff Sergeant McCammon, because, well, you know how I feel about him. So I was deeply offended. But
I will say this just before you continue on there. My notes that I took, and I am going to go over that interview because I did go through it very slowly and made very distinctive notes on that interview. The very first note I wrote down was McCammon seems like he just scored a touchdown.
Yes.
And maybe there's something he knows that we don't know. Maybe he
I'm
does
sure
have
there's
that
a lot.
touchdown feeling.
Yeah.
And that's what was coming off in that interview. So sorry, go ahead.
I think it was actually a lot to do with his off record sort of relationships with some of the reporters. So, despite being interviewed by these very strong women like Angela or
Allie.
Lindsay, yeah, or Allie, um, they, they talk off the record and have established, very good rapports and probably friendships with each other. So I think the smirk, a lot of it was because he knew who was going to be asking the questions and he was preparing himself for some hard
Yeah.
ones. I think that's actually what a lot of the smirking came down to. If I were a betting woman, anyway. Um,
Yeah, that there was probably some pre-conversation there too, just
yes,
before they went on air. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
because they know the journalists get a heads up as to when the briefing's going to happen. They get the opportunity to screen, like to let them know what kind of questions are going to be asked, and so I think that had a lot to do with it. Um, but I will agree with them on the initial response to Jack and Lily's disappearance. And that's down to the local RCMP until the major crime got involved. Much like the Dylan Ayler case with the local Truro police and with Portapic, um, this isn't something that Nova Scotia is used to. They're not used to missing children or of that age or mass shootings. It's not something that local police, smaller forces in particular, like your small community forces in Stellarton, um, would be used to dealing with. They wouldn't have the same kind of experience in dealing with something like that. And I have been critical of the original response to Jack and Lily's disappearance. They took it on word that the children had wandered off and treated it as such rather than treating it as a crime scene. It should have been
Yeah.
locked down straight away. They should have been monitoring and taking note of signing in anyone coming and going. Nobody should have been allowed in the woods, especially family members. And I think that's where the case really, why the case is struggling now, why it's taken so long, because there was missed opportunity in the first 12, 24 hours, which are the most important. And based on everything I've heard, movements of certain family members, it should never have been allowed. And maybe we would be further ahead if that was the case.
Yeah, I agree, and I've always expressed that as well. That the initial handling of the scene was, not good, not
No.
good, and hopefully there'll be change that will be made in that area. I hope.
Well, there's protocols in place already that were not followed
Oh, okay.
with
Hmm.
regards to missing children. It should have, the area should have been locked down, not just the property, but all the roads in and out of the area should have been closed, should have been, accounting for who was coming and going. And I just think there were some initial um, hiccups, if you like, as to how it was handled. And it wasn't until major crime came in, and I think probably the initial search hours where, children are often found within 24 hours if they wandered off. In fact, they're usually found a lot sooner than that, especially if they hadn't been gone that long. We've heard of several cases subsequently in Nova Scotia where the children are found relatively quickly, within a couple of hours. So
Yep.
it just, I just really do hope that things are learned and taken into account for, God forbid, something like this should ever happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Little Mama and No One Important. The lies, like Little Mama said, why are the lies not being stopped? Unfortunately, I don't think there's any laws that in the sense of arresting people for BS, exist. However, I'm sure RCMP are watching those people very carefully, because no different than us, they would want to know why. Like, why do people push false narratives? And as far as Daniel, back and forth and changing stories over and over, I mean, I think we all know that's being monitored. And, let people dig their holes.
Yeah, the old saying goes, give people enough rope and they'll hang themselves. So, Daniel saying that he gave the link to the RCMP about his live that he did with Sunny. Well, all they're going to do is they're going to run that through an AI system, take out the transcript, compare it to everything else he said, and they'll be able to see what the inconsistencies again. So
Yeah.
they have the best software out there, better than anything that we have or Larry Cameron has. So one
Yes.
second.
Yeah. Tash, wouldn't a homicide case give law enforcement a lot more freedom of info than a missing persons? Actually, there's, excuse me, certain things within the missing persons in McCammon. I had been saying it right from the get go when they kept that, that I suspected. That's why it was being kept a missing persons. And not only that, I would think it's going to stay a missing persons right up until they're ready. If something nefarious did take place here, they're ready to make arrests, and then it'll be switched over. But there are more doors that can be opened when it is kept a missing persons case, and McCammon said that himself. Sonny's live, he said those other charges were from stalking. Oh, I'm not sure who you guys are talking about there.
I know exactly what they're talking about. I can't see the chat right this moment, but Daniel said that the reason why the RCMP came to his property on Monday was so that he could report Tint for stalking. However, I have on good authority that that is not the case. That it was in
Yeah.
fact to question him, and they picked him up. So
Yeah. He always has a way of telling a story.
I'm sure he mentioned that Tint had flown a drone over his house during that conversation as a form of deflection, but that was not the
Right.
purpose of the conversation.
Yeah, and he's still doing that, like you were saying about the blame right from the get-go. Like, he's still doing that. He's still doing that. He did it with RCMP. He did it right there in that situation. And he's still doing that push pull. Like, 1 minute it's, all niceties towards somebody, and then in the next minute it's the blame game, and it's such manipulative behavior. It's so noticeable.
It is noticeable to anyone who's ever experienced that kind of thing.
Yes.
It's not so obvious to someone who hasn't ever been on the receiving end of that kind of gaslighting. But
that is true.
And I think that every woman out there, well, I would say 80% of women have probably experienced something along those lines or similar in their lifetime. And I think that's why predominantly women can see through what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I keep forgetting that when you experience something, it helps you to see more clearly as to what's going on, and not every single person can see that as clear. And you're right, more so women. No one important. Yes, you're correct. RCMP do reach out to FBI. Yeah, I know of a couple of cases that I followed where they in fact did. Yes.
Well, the
I real
pool of experts is greater in the US, right? Just based on population size. They have over 330 million people in the States. So they have 10 times our population, basically. So they will have 10 times the experts, in theory, than what Canada has. Therefore, they'll have more experience in dealing with these kind of situations too. So this kind of scenario happens more often in the States statistically because there's a higher population, which is why when doing comparables, often it's compared to cases out of the States because it does happen more often there and there is more cases to compare it to. Just like with the lost person behavior app, the majority of the 500,000 cases came from the States.
yeah, there's statistics. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. You think of the Orrin and
Orson
Orson
Welles. Yeah.
Wells. There's two children. Like you'd think of certain cases, in
Hmm.
the States where there's been more than one child that has gone missing, and the statistics in those cases.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Even with
interesting.
single children, like when the Elijah Vu,
Mm-hmm.
there was some very, very similar cases. And they all tend to have a pattern behind them,
Yep.
with regards to like CPS involvement, alcohol, drug use in the home,
Step
violence in the
parent.
home, step parent, inconsistent statements. And unfortunately, Lily and Jack's case does tick all the boxes.
Yep. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. Unfortunately. Um, mm, I'm stuck here again. My gosh, I hate that my mouse does that. Yeah, Shaw says, I really hope to bleep the police are watching him spill what happened. Oh, absolutely. If they're
Yeah,
watching anybody, it's those closely related to the children.
absolutely. And their
Um,
communications and who to, what they're saying, when. And I'm sure the social media team at the RCMP and hierarchy have been having a field day.
yeah, 9.5 hours and plus on Charmaine's as well.
Yeah, that's 12
Wow.
hours of interrogation they don't need to do that he just gave up willingly.
Honest
And
to God.
8 hours solid of speaking in circles and till 3:30 in the morning Nova Scotia time. That tells me all I need to know.
Carrie, has the topic of the first live Sunny, he mentioned the other churches and said victims. Do you know
Plural,
what?
yeah.
I know it sounded like he said victims. I played that in slow motion. Like I slowed it to slow motion. I slowed it down and listened to it. And when you
Yeah.
slow it down, you don't hear an S on the end of it.
Yeah.
And I listened to it twice in slow.
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't hear an S. You guys do it to see what you hear because maybe I'm wrong. Because I thought he said victims as well. That
Hmm.
was on Charmaine's, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it is so important, which I don't have the capacity or the time or the willingness to listen to things anymore repeatedly, but I am the type of person that needs to hear something multiple times and I will pick out different things each time I hear it
Yeah.
because my brain is still processing what I just heard while the conversation's still happening.
Yeah. Well, me too. Me too. Yeah. And I miss it
So,
and I have to keep going back. Yeah.
yeah. So I would suggest to anyone, which I was sad to see there was no manuscript or transcript available for Sunny's Live. I wish she would turn that on.
Oh, maybe she doesn't realize it's not on.
Yeah, it would be really great if she could turn that on because seeing it in writing as well also helps because he was quite monotonous other than the few inappropriate jokes he had. His tone was very flat.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry about the context of tone and voice inflection.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of the problem is that small detachments rotate out members. They do so often that GSAR don't have time to train and inform them on best practices, and that is unfortunate. Yeah, there's good and bad to that road. And I can tell you from healthcare as well, because that's always a topic of conversation. Because continuity, of course, there's so much positive about that. But
Yeah.
then there's also the negative side of having continuity as well.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
especially in law enforcement.
Yeah.
And that is why they have to rotate them like that.
Well, burnout must be just like with nursing,
Yep.
extremely high.
Yep.
And you do formulate opinions and biases regardless of who you are, no matter how much training you get.
Right.
So that it doesn't surprise me the rotation of RCMP or local detachment.
Yep.
However, it would be beneficial to have a core group within any organization that knows and goes back, because they know the population, they know the history of the families, they know what they're encountering. Because not having that information and not knowing the histrionics, I guess you could say, can hamper a lot of
Yep.
things.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the communication end of it, right? And when things
yeah.
get lost in communication wise, yeah, it can definitely cause issues, and it's the same as healthcare, and that's why continuity can be so great because of the communication aspect of it, and you don't want to lose that. But yet, like you said, having that continuity for an extended period of time also causes issues. And yeah, it's too bad that there wasn't some kind of something there to fill that gap, communication gap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get you. I just
But
wish he would get charged with whatever he did wrong. I know, Belinda. It's like, yeah, I
I'm
know,
gonna
but it
have to
takes
love you and
time.
leave you for a bit, Nova, because I gotta rinse my
Yep.
hair out before it falls out.
Go, go, go.
But I might, if you're still on when I come out of the shower, I'll pop back on.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We'll
All right.
maybe
Speak to you
see you
later.
then. Good luck.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. I just wish he would get charged. Yeah, I would love to see it separated from the missing children case, though. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and Ginger says, I will give our CMP some grace since they were involved in another search when they got the call for Lilly&Jack. I have a generous heart. Yeah, that was unusual to have two big situations taking place at the same time at different ends of the county, mind you, because you have one situation happening at almost near one end of the borderline of the county and the other situation nearing the other borderline of the county at the same time. So, yes, I get what you're saying there. I'm not sure if LC has anything more than a few loose screws. Yep. Seems to be a lot of that lingering around this case or hanging around. Christine, okay, I don't know how it works. My older cousin used to be our CMP in Alberta. Yeah. No, I'm not referring to Tint Shan. I'm referring to him not being allowed on the res. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes. Yes, I did hear him say that. Yeah. Tint did say Daniel was telling the truth about that. Anyone find coincidence that Dylan, Ealer, Jack, and Lily, and now this new attempted abduction all happened in May? Not really. May, early spring, is the high time for people to wander, number one, and also for perps to start their lurking, unfortunately. So, you know, Dylan, in my opinion, was due to wandering, and that's my opinion. That's not an active case to my knowledge. I believe it was determined that he wandered. Lily and Jack, we don't 100% know yet. We can kind of see what direction it's possibly going in, but we 100% don't know. And what took place in Pictou recently of 2 children being offered a chocolate bar to go see their grandparent certainly seems like an attempted abduction for sure. Now, is that related to anything with Jack and Lily? I can't for 100% sure say. Yeah. It's not illegal to fly drone over someone's home in Canada. We do not own the sky over our homes. That's right. There are certain areas you're not allowed to fly them. But yeah, not over someone's home. You do have to be licensed, though. Even to have, like my husband and I have, what are they called? It's an airplane. It's a big, like they're like the size of those planes you see. RC planes. They're huge. They have to be registered, and you have to have permission to fly them. Yeah, they're not. They don't have the drone capability on them, but they're huge, and they just sound like a real plane. And when they're way up in the air, they actually there's a certain point where it actually you would think it's a real plane flying up there. And Tin says, I was joking. I don't know exactly why our CMP car was there. Thanks for the clarification, Tin. Good drone videos, by the way. Yeah, you do really good videos. Yep. Excellent videos. Is there a serial abductor on a liver out there? I hope not. I hope not. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think there's any connection, and that's just my opinion. I mean, but at the end of the day, do we 100% know anything? Yeah. The road in front of Daniel Martel's place is a public road, and you can drive by his place 1,000 times. It's not illegal. Exactly. This thought of ownership out there. I mean, yeah, they've lived out there for generations, but there's no ownership to the roads and the waterways. Or the sky, unfortunately. Yeah. Although I have to say that image of Janie down there building the deck, I did feel bad for her a little bit. I have to say, I have to admit, she's down there slaving away building that deck. You think that the men in the family would come build that for her in 5 minutes with all the brothers and sons. And yeah, anyways. But that is true, Ginger. Yes, ma'am. Wasn't there an attempt also in Spring Hill last May? Someone trying to pick up children near the school? I have to look. There was a boy here that was at a sports complex, and there was people that offered him, saying that they would drive him home and trying to get him in the car. And it was a nice day in a small town. Like, I don't know why anybody would be doing that, but yeah. Ginger, I did not know that. I do know that I wouldn't like drones going over our rural property, especially when my family may be naked in the hot tub. Well, true that. Have the RCMP used ground penetrating radar yet on the property? I don't know if they used it on the property, but I think there were some areas that it may have been used. I could be wrong. I thought I remembered reading that as part they listed everything that they had used. I'm sure I read that there. Now, whether it was on the property or not, I can't answer that. I do think Dylan is in the water, though. I do too, Belinda believes. And Belinda, your comments back there about Ken, I do agree. Ken has done a lot, and I don't want to ever take anything like that away from anyone. Like, not disparaging that at all. But it's just like Shan said, we all know that birds of a feather flock together. So when you kind of see him and Darren together, because Darren obviously is, due to his own doings, makes us suspicious. And then you see Kent with him, it becomes hard to separate the two, and you start to wonder, like, what the heck is going on there? But I certainly don't think of Kent in the way that I think of Darren. I will say that. And yeah. Especially if you're saying Daniel is telling the truth. I took your word. Oh, you're talking to Tint. Yes, they use ground penetrating radar. Yes, they did. Yeah, but I remember that listed, but I don't know if they used it on the property or where they used it. I don't think they specified where. Was Haley at the service? Is there a reason she's gone quiet? I didn't see her at the service. And as far as, I mean, she might have had a schedule she couldn't change or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to answer for her and why she went quiet. Again, I don't want to answer for her, but one thing to speculate is certain things being said about her on a certain channel and about her certain private life, things that should never, ever, ever have been said, would probably scare a person off and want to make them pull back and hopefully be forgotten because of the things that are being said. So, yeah. Yeah, Sonny and Charmaine for allowing him to blah, 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 blah. So we should thank Char and Sonny for saving the police time, I guess. Yeah, I think Angeline just did. Yeah, and that's what Shan pretty much said. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Shan and Char. I couldn't do it. Oh my God, I couldn't do it. Yeah, everybody's personalities are different. And mine is a personality that just can't. I have a hard time with that. And the funny thing is, typically it's empaths that have a hard time listening or have a hard time interacting with BSers and people who they've already determined they know are not being truthful and are not sincere. It's very difficult for empaths to interact with those individuals. So for me, because I am an empath, that's probably why that's a part of my personality. And Sunny always says how much of an empath she is. So I don't know how she gets through that, because I'd have a hard time. And that's probably why Justin has such a hard time too. And he can admit it just like me. And it's very easy to see that Justin is an empath. Like, you can just tell that. When a parent refers to their missing children as a situation, it typically indicates a significant psychological barrier between the parent and the reality of the loss. Yes. Yeah. They can't say the words that actually should be stated. Yes. Sham, once his fake Cadence is removed, what he says is a lot more questionable. Yes. Yeah. makes you sick. Yes, I hear you. Yeah, I hope her hair doesn't turn purple. I wonder what her hair's going to look like when she's dyeing it. She said something about emu, so. Daughter's on her way. Need to get off home, but keeping you on TV. Love, prayers, justice for Lily and Jack. Thank you, Novah, mods, and chat. Well, thank you for being here. I'm just not hyper fixated on Daniel because Malay, Janie, and Daniel all alibi each other. So if something nefarious, then they were all involved. Now, see, that's where I disagree. And not that I mind your opinion or thought, because everybody has their thoughts. When something's not true, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is lying. It means someone is lying, or 2 out of the 3 could be lying, or it could be all 3. So I'm not of the thinking that it's all 3. And it's a definite that it's true that it doesn't have to be all 3. It could be 1 out of the 3, could be 2 out of the 3, or it could be the 3. Yeah. And for me, I don't think it's the 3. So for example, one says, I woke up and I said to my partner, Daniel, do you hear the kids? And then Daniel tells the same story. Well, does it mean they're both lying? Right? Or does it mean one is lying? And in my opinion, I believe one of them is lying. And having paid attention closely to Daniel, I believe it's him. Because one thing I've learned about him very early on is that he takes what other people say and he regurgitates it. And that's just my opinion. Dylan was known for being outside with a caregiver who admittedly turned their back near a rushing river. Yeah, unfortunately. So sad. So sad. It was also in the documents from Malaya that Daniel was good with the kids and wouldn't hurt them. If this is wrong, she lied to authorities. Well, sometimes it could be lying, or it could be a person who has not completely confronted yet what is actually going on. Which is not unusual in a domestic violence situation or someone who is under coercive control. Just thinking outside the box here. Yeah, like sometimes that is a process. And yeah, because we know that was stated. But then in further interviews, then it was admitted about the domestic violence. So we have to understand that when those things are involved, it's a process in confronting and it being understanding and then being able to admit what was actually going on. Yeah. How long did it take the RCMP to designate Dylan's case as for sure wandering? Well, see, Dylan's case is the Truro police with RCMP assisting, is my understanding. I could be wrong in that because it was never considered It was never considered like major crimes, or like, it's a little bit different than Lilly&Jack. So, and how long, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There is a very good interview with the mother. I think the father's on it too, but it's mostly the mom who speaks on it with W5, Tash. And it's really good. Look that up and watch that. You'll probably, those answers would be in that for sure. I've watched it, but I'd have to watch it. My memory of new, and that would be considered new to my new brain, because that took place after my illnesses and stuff. My health condition changed. So my memory is not as clear as it would be if that happened a long, like 10 years ago or more. But I think you'll get those answers in that show. That's just statistically likely not to be a mystery. You need a license if your drone weighs over 250 grams. Oh, yeah, because my husband's had the smaller ones. You don't need a license for those. No, they just fly around your backyard. And if they go any further, you usually end up losing them. Or the wind gets a hold of them. It was nice for DM to tell us that the children never left the house on their own before that morning. It was nice of them, eh? Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? Yes, ma'am says that's the story that they tell, maybe to cover their butt, but they went outside and he was in fact unattended. Yeah. 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 Not too sure on that. If the children, I think Malaya admitted, didn't she, in conversations either with Belinda or somebody, that they had gone outside. I mean, honestly, at their age, for them to be outside playing on their own is not like a huge deal. But a parent should know. A parent should know and be aware that they're out there. I think you just need a license for the bigger drone. Yeah. The teeny ones. Yeah, the teeny ones that blow away. Yeah. Oh, I knew what you meant. Buttocks. I knew you meant the buttocks. I'm a licensed drone operator as well. Oh, cool. One never knows. No one knows the truth in this except the ones or ones involved. Exactly, Bonnie. Exactly. We just can't 100% say for sure, right? I mean, we can look at the statistics. We can kind of see that there's stories that don't line up here and there. And no matter what our thoughts are and what happened with Lilly&Jack at the end of the day, nobody knows 100% sure. I sure hope RC and P do. Oh, I meant to read that question. Just like Malaya says they never leave the kids unattended when they are outside, then in her interview admits they weren't supervising them. Yeah, I kind of thought she did say somewhere that, which, like I said, at that age, like if my kids were 4 and 6 and they wanted to go out in the backyard to play, especially with it, the fencing around it, although I know they were fixing the fence and the kids still could get out a bit there at that time. If I was up, I still probably would not have an issue with them being out there playing while I kept an eye on them. But unattended and while I was sleeping, I of course wouldn't be doing that. Perhaps someone they knew came for an early morning visit, saw the kids, everyone was asleep, and took them. Well, and that's the thing. Absolutely, that could be a scenario that took place, because typically it has to do with those closest to the children, and whether it's somebody on the property or someone within the circle. We went over this at the very beginning of this case, whether, it's someone on the property or in the circle of the family that are aware of the children, whether it be a relative, a person just aware that the children are there on the property. Yeah. There are so many possibilities and not even enough answers. It's so heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Yeah. Yes, he mentioned her again yesterday. Yeah. 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 You would think the dog would bark. No one important. Yeah. I think that dog probably would bark at anything and anyone. Yeah. In my opinion, I don't know for sure, but yeah, and I'm not going to repeat them, Christina, because it's very personal, private stuff that was stated, that should never be stated. And it's disgusting that that channel even said that stuff. And it's Mike and what's her name? I think he privated them after that because people were really upset, which they should be. You know, uh, and it even could have harmed her with that information being put out there. It could have caused her harm. And it would certainly scare an individual with what was stated to back off and hopefully be forgotten. Yeah. Hello, Pictou County Jail. Thank you for being here. Belinda, if they all could have got their arses out of bed, yeah, if that is actually what they were doing. Their timeline now pretty much shows that was a lie. Malaya was obviously awake at 8:28. Yeah. Something I want to read to you guys, and I'm only going to read this. I'm not going to say anything else. Epstein-Barr virus causes extreme fatigue, severe sore throat, fever, swollen lymph nodes that can last for several weeks to months. While common in teens, adults over 30 can still contract it, often experiencing more severe fatigue and longer recovery times, which is very true. Anything that hits people when they're older tends to be worse. Like more so than when you're a kid. Symptoms: intense exhaustion, and it does. I've listened to people discuss that who've had it themselves or knew other people who've had it, and they say that individual could be sitting there and then all of a sudden they topple over because they're out cold. They just can't stay awake, and it's almost like a comatose sleep. Prolonged fever, sore throat, often mistaken for strep, swollen glands, potential abdominal pain from swollen spleen, and you typically do get the swollen spleen with this. Recovery treatment focuses on rest, fluids, over-the-counter pain relievers. It often lasts to 2 to 4 weeks, though fatigue can persist for months, which it typically does, especially in adults. Complications: avoiding contact sports is essential to prevent spleen rupture, which is a rare but serious condition. Yeah, so we'll just leave that there. But it's good to know about that and how severe it can be in adults. Yeah. So you just made me think of that in that comment. Yeah, and when I think of Daniel stating, now saying he had the baby, the kids are coming in and out of the room. He had no idea they weren't going to school. And I'm thinking, Well, for God's sakes, did you shake her? Did you check her pulse? Did you say, "Are you okay? Is something wrong? Like, you seem kind of out of it. The kids are not, you're not getting the kids ready for school." Like, did you check on her? Yeah. One thing hitchhiking around the country as a 16-year-old, my son did that too, blonde on her own, taught me is how to read someone's character and intentions as soon as they introduce themselves. Wow. Thank God you ended up doing that safely. My son did that too. I worried the whole time. There's some wackos out there, and you, as a female blonde, doing that. Not that your hair color matters, but I know what you're saying. I just can't with JM. Her audio recordings were just so, yes, too overwhelming for me. I think I ate 3 cheesecakes to get through them. I know. And now I'm like that with Daniel's now as well. It's triggering. I used to listen to every single word that he said, and not on here. I wouldn't dissect it on here. We'll leave that to Justin and Ninchi, but just myself, I would listen. Daniel should be in prison today after last night's episode on Mike D and who he spoke to and how he spoke to Jane. Was he on Mike Demands last night? Daniel was? Really? See, I don't watch that. I get people tell me certain things that were said on there, or I'll see like a clip of it on Ninchi, or I don't even think Justin shows him, but Ninchi will discuss certain things that were said. Yeah, I agree. Yes, ma'am, indeed. You can't be biased in this. Wow. I'm just seeing where we are in the comments there, guys. Yeah, they are both not telling the truth. So how can you say it's only one, in my opinion? I don't know if you meant me when I was saying when people are telling different stories, it doesn't always mean that both are lying. It could mean that one is lying, right? And I'm not saying that it is just one. Well, I guess in my opinion, I feel it's one that is lying. Like when, in the sense that when one is saying, I woke up and said to Daniel, and Daniel saying, I woke up and said to Malaya. And I heard that, to me, I felt Daniel was not telling the truth in that situation. I felt it was Malaya who said that, but Daniel likes to regurgitate what other people said. It's his way of sounding normal. I don't understand. I'm not trying to be rude, but in that tiny space, how do they both not know? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, and that makes me think of this again, without saying too much more. They all said they heard the kids that morning, so if that is true, nothing happened the night before. Yes, DM mirrors others, yes. A part of his live conversation sounds like he's mirroring his psychiatrist. I agree. I thought the same thing. And then I heard Justin say, like I said, I have those thoughts. I'll think, oh, he's repeating exactly word for word what his therapist or psychiatrist or whatever, like that's what he does. He just regurgitates what somebody else, and not that he understands it. And now he's got an understanding of it. And, people learn through their therapy or sessions with their psychiatrist, and they do better. Not in that sense. He's just regurgitating it to sound normal. Yes. And I thought the same thing, that he's doing that with his therapist or psychiatrist, whatever it is that he has sessions with. Yeah, for sure. What if you're wrong, Nova? You could be, and so could we. Yeah, exactly. But you have to keep an open mind. Oh, I do. Oh, I do. Believe me, I do. Yeah, and and that's why I always say none of us know. None of us know. None of us at the end of the day, we can have our thoughts, and none of us know. Yeah. But I know what it's like to deal with somebody like Daniel. And yeah, and how they do that. It's them that said this. I said this. I did that, when it's actually you. Like I've had to deal with that. So I caught on to that one pretty quick with him. What was going on there? Yeah. Bonnie, exactly. Malaya has lied as well. Malaya alibis Daniel. She lied to our CMP about his character as well. This case is so freaking sad and heartbreaking. And the thing is, I get what you guys are saying, but beyond that, after that, then what? Right? If you know what I'm trying to say, then what? So there's situations where do people continue to do that? Or do they start to have an understanding of something and then start to work closely with law enforcement? Like I get what you're saying there, but look beyond that. Have an open mind to look beyond that, if you understand what I'm saying, right? Dylan case was very different. I agree. I followed it completely. Yes, very different, Bonnie. Pictou. If there's any questions, if there's stuff you guys are just talking to each other, which is great, I'll try to get past so I can try to get closer to the bottom. DM reminds me of new folk going through the 12-step program of all reformed and use the lingo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll regurgitate all this just to sound normal. Yeah. And that's personality disorder, right? People do that. People with personality disorders. Yeah, regurgitate other things other people are saying to try to sound normal. Yeah. Oh, hello, Miss Chelsea. Hello, Nova and chat. If all three are telling the truth and heard the children that morning, that leaves a small window of opportunity. The children would not have traveled far in that little time. Yep, I agree. Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I do think there were some things in the beginning, and And I said, I still think the same thing as way back in my early videos, my early thoughts. When you think the children are going to be found, like just putting myself in someone else's shoes and not saying that I would do this, but just trying to think outside the box, put myself in someone else's shoes. Okay, if a person was thinking the children are going to be found, they're scared that they're going to look like a bad parent and that their children will be taken from them. Once the children are found, I'm going to lose some. They're going to take all three of my children here because of my not so good parenting of keeping an eye on my children. And geez, like CPS was already here in December and they're coming back next week. Holy crap, this really looks bad on me as a parent. So I better try to sweep some of this under the rug here so I don't lose my three kids because of this situation, you know. And then it turns out your children are not found and something else happened here. Now I have to be more forthcoming of, you know, what I was saying initially, because this has turned into something that I never ever thought it would turn into. I thought my kids were going to be found, just like everybody thought the kids were going to be found, right? So now I need to be more forthcoming about what I wasn't being so forthcoming about earlier, because I thought once the kids are found, CPS is going to come in here and scoop them up and take them all away because I wasn't paying attention to my kids. So I just think outside the box and think of that possibility, right? And then once that's established with our CMP, then that mother may have been more forthcoming about what she was saying initially. That's just, yeah, kind of one thing I think about. I'm not blaming one or the other. I hate them all equally. They failed these kids. And I understand where people have those feelings, where those feelings are coming from when people feel that way, because there's two missing precious babies and what happened. And then I understand that people start to feel those feelings, right? I lied to my family about how I was being treated after surgery by my ex. Yeah, he was not caring for me because I was scared of him. Exactly. You never know the duress she may have been under. Yeah. And that's where my thoughts go. That there was that going on, that there was the fear of when they find Lilly&Jack, they're going to take them and they're going to take all three of my kids. So I have to kind of, not be so honest about the fact that of some not so great parenting going on. And again, certain things going on that maybe some of us don't know about. Given the distance Daniel said he searched, I still question the time frame. Even he admitted to searching a far distance out. Why? Unless they were gone sooner. Oh, yeah. And even Janie said, like right away, the distance that she saw Daniel going to look for the kids. Janie says, I was thinking, why is he going way down there? They couldn't have got down there that quick. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I agree, Bonnie. Didn't Dion say that both that they hadn't gone out by themselves and that they would go out by themselves often? I remember Belinda asking him to clarify. Yeah, I can't remember that. I know he's saying now that's the first time they ever did that, and they never ever did that, and then that's why he says they didn't have a lock on that back door. Well, all those doors have a lock. But again, before Justin even said it, my thoughts are right along on cue as his, because I'm thinking, like, my God, you go on about what you did to the front door because of bears. Like, how many times have you had a bear in your house, Daniel? Seriously, like, how many times did you have a bear in your house? But you come up with this homemade contraption at the front door and you say it's due to a bear. But yet your answer to not locking the back door is because kids never did that before. Like, come on. Where is your common sense? Like, man, if they were taken by someone in that small window, I'd almost be certain it was family or a neighbor. I agree, Chelsea. Yeah, and that is statistically true. That's what happens. Lying to your family and lying to law enforcement are two different things. Yeah, I 100% agree. And especially when the situation changes. Now it's not just your children wandered off, right? You were just shown a map of everywhere searched, and they're telling you, like, your children are not here. And then it starts to become apparent that this isn't just as simple as my kids just wandered off so many feet possibly into the forest and they're going to easily be found. Something else is going on here, and now it's time to be 100% on cue with the truth, right? Yeah, I would never leave my kids out. I would never leave my kids out without parental care at that age. No, seriously, no. With the way that it was set up there in the backyard and at 4 and 6, I would think that if a parent is awake and they're in that kitchen area with a good view of that backyard, if you're like making their breakfast while they're out there playing or whatever, as long as you got your eye on them there. But yeah, I hear what you're saying as far as not knowing that they're out there at all or any at all keeping an eye on them. Janie said they were always out there with no coats or boots, and she called Malaya. Yeah. Yep. Neighbor would be harder to track, Chelsea. Yes, Janie did say that, but Janie, I know the morning the kids went missing, yes, Malaya was in bed. But when Janie's saying that, I don't take that as because Malaya was in bed, right? It could be, like I said, Malaya could just be right in the kitchen there. And, that could be a situation of that mother-in-law that's constantly, the kids are doing this, the kids did that, the kids took the boots off, the kids got their jacket, the kids got their mitt, the kids, being a bit overly. So again, I'm not saying that's the fact of what was going on. I don't know, but I didn't take it as because Malaya's in the bed every morning sleeping and the kids are out there playing. But yes, yeah, Bonnie, he wandered when he was 2, between 2 and 3. Yeah. Did you know it was the neighbor and Earl who found the boot print? I never knew that. That's the first that I heard of that. And it was so strange to me the way Daniel worded that. Yeah, it was weird how he worded that when he was talking about that, how he worded it about his father. In my opinion, I believe the children were allowed to play outside unattended often. Yeah, and I feel like, didn't Malaya say that they did go outside? Daniel is trying to say they didn't. I believe both parents do not want to admit this. But again, this makes abduction more plausible. Yes. And I do think Malaya didn't want to admit that in the beginning. I do think she has since been more forthcoming. But at the beginning, I think in a parent's mind, when you think your kids are going to be found and then you realize, okay, something else is going on here, she then became more forthcoming. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. Chelsea, no, it was a neighbor who found it and he went and got Earl. Yes, he found it and then got Earl. Yeah. Guys, I know there's lots more. Hi, Dottie. Thanks for being here. Anybody I missed that came in, I apologize. It's just because I'm way behind in the chat. Just clapping seal. Thank you. Jilly Bean. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Cassandra. Anybody else I missed? I apologize. Leslie. I'll say hi to you before I say goodbye to you because I'm going to have to say goodbye because I am so hungry. I got to go eat. Oh, I'm way behind. Wow. Sorry, guys. I didn't know I was that behind. And Shan is even back. She's probably trying to tell me she's ready to come back on stage. Mm. Oh, my. But I'm going to have to say goodbye anyways because I have to use the bathroom. Tiffany, hi. Anybody else I missed? Chelsea, thank you. Cynthia, hi. Looks like you guys are having a great old conversation there anyways, and I'm sure Shan's been answering some of your questions. Shan, thanks for coming back. Yeah, I have to go eat and I have to go potty very bad. But I'm so happy that you were all here today and we could just have a session of you guys taking the floor. And me just doing my best, having discussions with you, trying to answer questions, having Shan answer questions. Chelsea, I hope you're right, Novah, and she's being forthcoming. I do feel she is being forthcoming now, more forthcoming. I think she was in my opinion, it's nothing that I've been told or anything. It's just what gathering information from, just from everything I've seen. Yeah, that there was possibly some fear in the beginning that her kids would have been taken away from her because she didn't have a watchful eye on Lilly&Jack that morning. And then once she realized something more is going on here, then of course she was more forthcoming about things. And I could be wrong on that. That's just my opinion. All right, guys, lots of love. Thank you to everyone being here. If I miss saying hi to anybody, I sincerely apologize. Lots of love to you all. Lots of positive vibes. And, I will see you again sometime. I'll play the missing posters on the way out there for you all to see. And the numbers for RCMP and unsolved crime will come up. Make note of those numbers. And of course, I'll show some pictures of Lilly&Jack here before we say goodbye. Precious babies. Oh my God, they're so precious. So heartbreaking that this happened. My God. They're so beautiful. And that was last Easter. I just love how Lily, whoever she's looking at there, how she's looking at them, looking into their eyes. I don't know who it is she's looking at, but so sweet. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Lots of love, lots of positive vibes. Have a beautiful evening. Is there orange juice there, hon? Can you get me a drink? My sugars are low. And I got a piece of bed too.